Hi, folks.
Hey, kids. All right.
Okay, while Mike unclenches his teeth.
Excuse me for just a moment.
Good evening. Welcome to Braveheart, 88.7 FM, Meadville, Pennsylvania. The small station with the big mouth. That was a big mouth. Mike just downed a bottle of beer. Honey, make sure that's cold.
I don't want that ice in it. Hi, John.
Hi, Mike.
Ah. Ah. Ah.
Are we all gooder now?
Oh,
Getting there?
Not even close.
Well, yeah, but you came in smiling ear to ear.
I have allowed myself to relax a little bit and remember why I was pissed off to begin with. I'll explain.
Okay, you want to trade seats?
There's too much. I'll sum up.
You want? I haven't done a proper opening because I don't do a proper opening. You do.
Let us switch.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Let us switch.
Wait, wrong chair.
Oh. Don't sit in your ass, Mike.
Everything is up and running, recording, hot, straight, normal. We're all good.
Hey, Bobby.
Hi, Mike.
Focus. Are you hanging out?
I'm leaving for a little bit.
She's leaving us, John. I scared her
I
away.
will be back.
I scared her away. Not surprising. Hi! We will do a proper beginning here, and then I will explain why I'm ready to commit multiple homicide. Of course, it's not like that most weeks anymore. I think I need to see a therapist. Gunpowder therapy. I like that. The beer that I just chugged wants to bounce a little. There's still a...
An air bubble?
Yeah. More like vapor lock.
I hate that. I hate that.
It's because at least half the bottle is on either side of the bubble.
Yeah. Oh.
It's deciding whether that it's going to break through the top one and bring half of it with it, or it's just and let the rest of the beer hit from the stomach where it fucking belongs.
Trickle down alcohol in the mix.
Anyhow.
Give me that. Don't throw it. Give me it. Drop the lock, Mike. Drop the lock.
You knew exactly what I was going to do. Oh, holy snapping assholes, Batman. All right. Heavy sigh. Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Braveheart, 88.7 FM, Pennsylvania American Patriot Radio, the small station with the big mouth. We've only got two big mouths in the booth. We thought we were going to have an emergency backup third, but she's unassing the area while the opportunity presents itself.
Oh boy.
Yeah, probably not a bad idea.
Smart thinking.
Yeah. Run! Throw a few Molotovs at the door so we can't get out.
Yeah, do not let us out in public.
I just came from public. I want to go back out and kill public. That's entirely besides the point. We'll explain in a minute. Am I? Yeah, I am. I am your host, Michael Wagner. I'll be with you here for the next 3 hours here on our Saturday get-together. It is
The calendar's right, too.
August 16th. Half the damn month is gone.
And most of summer. What little we had.
Indeed.
There's an explanation for that, which we'll be talking about tonight.
Oh, fuck. Still regaining my voice a little bit after barking my fool head off last night. I didn't get home until about 10 o'clock this morning. We'll get to that in a minute. Sitting across from me in the founder's chair is not Mr. Daryl Civic. He is once again off at the undisclosed location. we've discussed, there are things that have to be done up there, and I wish I had more time to devote to it. I feel like he's pulling all the weight as far as getting that done is concerned, and
Well, I can say this.
no.
He is communing with nature, and nature's about had its fill, I'm sure, by now.
They're building the barbed wire fence to keep him contained. Sitting over here is Mr. Patriot John Weber.
Hi, hello,
He's,
how are you?
He's gonna have to help me decompress a little bit because I actually added an additional 15 minutes to get in here in time so that we could go over some of the stories to get things set up for tonight. Let me explain why I stumbled in here later than normal. First of all, I keep forgetting that by local standards, I now reside in a resort area. Everybody's out on the damn lake because it is a beautiful day. A little windy, it's a little chop, but your more hardy types are heading for the lake and they're enjoying it and the whole area. Getting out of my driveway took an act of Congress. On the way inbound, I encountered several different species of motorist. The first are the ones who've just recently received their license from their Cracker Jack boss. And don't quite know where all the controls are. Namely, that one long flat pedal underneath your right fucking foot that controls the accelerator. Secondly, are the opposite end of the spectrum. The elderly, the aged, fucking decrepit. Driving vehicles they have no fucking business driving, and the one that bugs me the most is a brand new Viper convertible with a pair of 70-year-olds in it. Bullshit on a stick.
Oh my.
And then you just have your generic asshole that, oh, am I supposed to go this way? Is it my turn to go now? Since you took down the lights, they don't know how to go. Come up to a four-way stop. Everybody's staring at each other. Nobody's moving. And there's no waving. Go ahead. They're just staring at each other. And it's always in a counterclockwise circle. This person's looking at that one's looking at that one, around the goddamn compass. And you gonna move? You gonna move? You can hear the thought process. You gonna move? You gonna move? You gonna move? And then all at once they'll all inch up about a half a foot. And then all fucking stop again!
Oh, this
John?
is epic.
I'm not kidding. This is not faking.
This is epic.
I drive a truck for a living. I go through the Detroit area every fucking day, and I have less aggravation doing that than I had in the 30 minutes it takes to get here from my house. I really want to kill something. I'm not going to, yet, that you know.
Road rage on steroids.
And then, if that wasn't enough, and by God don't you think it ought to be, I'm making the last quarter to a half mile stretch on 322 before I start coming up over the hill towards Daryl's. And what to my wondering eye should appear but a giant hay truck and a little bitty car pulling it.
Makes you want to jump out and set fire to
I could have! It was going that slow and waving back and forth like this, waiting for it to topple. Because the wagon was overloaded and was not only fishtailing, it was going like this.
Wow, dude.
And I go past it, and there's something slightly smaller than an S10 pulling it. When a full-size pickup would probably have been the bare minimum that should have been pulling this monstrosity. I mean, technically, he should have had something one step between a full-size tractor trailer and a dually pulling the fucking thing. I mean, it was that overloaded. Nicely stacked. Great fucking job. It's the only reason it wasn't coming apart. This was put together like a bricklayer.
No, were they round bales or
Squares.
Squares?
Squares. You would have... I would be willing to bet not only was it too high for most clearances at 13.6, it was too wide for the fucking trailer.
See ya.
Way to stop
Okay,
us.
Dave.
Peace.
Love you.
And just like you could see the tires buckling as the thing bent. Probably fully inflated, but overloaded.
Like the axle was bending?
No, like the tire was flexing.
Oh, okay.
If he took a turn too hard, it was going to rip the tire right off the damn rim. And I'm looking this in stunned amazement. As I'm doing 75 miles an hour trying to make up the time I'd lost, and realized I had to go, whoa, camel! And the two people that were in front of me between the monstrosity and myself were going, shit, not yet. Shit, not yet. They're taking little peeks, see if they can go. Huge stretch of highway there in front of me. Guess what Mikey did? Wow! Right past them. And with an eighth of a mile left, slowed right the fuck down and got off my exit. I did not have enough patience to wait. I had no patience left. I was going to start creating...
Bad doctor.
I was going to start creating patience for the local fucking ER. Shut up. And on top of all that, like I said, I'd shoot up an extra 15 minutes on my normal trip because it takes almost exactly 30 minutes running at reasonable speeds. I didn't say legal, I said reasonable. To get from there to here.
The speeds that don't quite exceed prudence.
In the 55 mile an hour zones, I generally run 60. I always, almost always, now once I get up to about 70 miles an hour on an interstate that's labeled that, I stay there. Because there's no place I need to go that requires me to go faster than 70 miles an hour. If you gotta drive that goddamn fast, you should have left sooner. But the weather is great, the sun is out, the area is looking beautiful. We're not in the middle of a monsoon right now.
Yeah.
And so everybody and their brother and their cousin and a few people they've never fucking met in their lives are all getting together right in front of me. And the following is a public service announcement.
Uh-oh. Step away from your radio.
No.
Take the headphones off
No,
your head.
I'm not going there with this. This is actually Mikey cooling down a bit. Use your motherfucking turn signals. I don't think it's asking that much to prevent death. Because even if we don't cause an accident, I will kill you. Do the thing, save your family a lot of grief and just, use your turn signals. Otherwise, I'm going to stuff the thing right up your ass. Oh. It's like that video you've seen all over the place on the internet of an accident being caused. Guy that's been hit gets out, storms up to the driver's window, opens the car, reaches in there, fights a little bit with the driver, grabs a cell phone, slams it onto the ground, and then slams the door closed and just calmly walks back to his vehicle. That was me today.
Nice.
Son of a bitch. But the one that just really lit my fuse was, I was dealing with most everything up to that point until I saw that Viper. And I'm sorry. I realize it probably takes you to that point in life before you can afford one of the goddamn things. But the gentleman who was driving, he might very well be an excellent driver. I was simply outraged because that car was not built for those people. A Dodge Viper convertible, very nice looking car, with more horsepower than the last 3 vehicles I've owned.
Combined.
Indeed. And that gentleman has to be early 70s easily. And his lady friend, I can't even say his wife anymore because that no longer freaking applies. The dynamic has completely changed. I use as Exhibit A my landlady, who is dating, is freaking me out because I've given up. And she's 23 years older than I am. And she's dating. Nah! I'm sorry, at that age you don't do shit like that. But apparently they do. And of course, 2 of her sorority sisters were still there at the apartment. Apparently they'd just gotten back from their invasion of Canada. Because that her place there was basically base camp for them to have a hen party on the other side of the border. They're back. I've been gone all week. I expected them not to be there. They were still there, having their hen party. I don't know. But like once again, both ends of the spectrum. As time moves on, I am getting less and less tolerant of certain things. Old people having more energy than me, and acting far more like teenagers than I do, and little kids that seem to know more than you do, and don't understand why you just don't listen to them and shut the hell up and be a good little servant and go get me my sippy cup.
Cool story, kid. Now go make me a sandwich.
We need to talk about that, because that's been rotating in my head for God only knows what fucking reason. Since you said it last week. Where did that come from? Who has ever said that and not got hit in the head with something?
I don't know. I saw it on a T-shirt.
I know, but
But it was a cool story, babe. Now go make me a sandwich.
what is this make me a sandwich thing? This is a fair question.
It's a sexist, derogatory thing.
Well, how did it even occur? What woman has ever made a guy a sandwich when it's been requested? None.
Mine.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
I've got to get her back. I've never heard of such a thing. If I want a sandwich, I make it myself. I don't. Hey, make me a sandwich. What? First of all, you get shot, and then you'd have to return fire because she can't hit shit. Waiting for the bullshit to start. Oh, poke, 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 poke. I intend on pissing everybody off tonight because I don't want to be alone. I have had no caffeine. This is all in the match. Imagine if I tossed out a 5-hour energy.
Right up there.
Do you really want that to happen? Armageddon will begin tonight. I will make sure of it. Not one stone will be left standing upon another.
Yeah, you know, I walked through the valley of the shadow of death.
I will fear no evil
I
because
will
I'm the
fear
meanest
no evil.
son of a bitch in the valley!
I will feel no. I will
You will
fear
feel
no
no-
evil
I will
except
feel-
Mike.
I will feel no evil. I will feel evilly. We are going out for shit afterwards. Yeah. Anyway, I haven't goosed a waitress in a long time.
Oh God. I suddenly remembered I have to go home and watch my hair right after the show.
Moo. All right. Hi, John. Hi. I've noticed that you've lied to me.
I fibbed. Because you
Exaggerate.
asked the wrong question. It's your fault.
You know?
I asked you to get me another CB antenna The next words out of your mouth are, "Did you get a truck?"
I
Wrong question.
that was a perfectly good question. Question. Hold on a second. Now we return to our regularly scheduled program. Already in progress. Anyway, remember I told you one of us had to get that damn truck.
That's the one that we looked at Sunday.
Yeah, dude, I recognized as soon as I came around that top bend there. I saw that sitting. I started giggling then. How much was it?
15.8.
I knew it. It had to be. It had to be. Which just goes to show that when you use Trader Online, you can get a pretty good thumbnail sketch of what the particular vehicles are if you do enough research. I knew that had to be a $15,000 truck. So,
Welcome to the W3MID repeater, Mayville, Pennsylvania.
a little polite little fucker, isn't he?
The local ham radio repeater.
Oh, okay. Toffee. Which is kind of weird because I haven't had any. Anyhow, how's it drive?
Good. Drives damn good. And really, the really cool thing is, it's a blank slate. There is no bling on that truck whatsoever.
It's a good looking truck all by itself.
Yeah, it is, and I get to purdy it up from scratch.
See, personally, if I had that, I don't think there'd be a whole hell of a lot I would do differently with it, except maybe, with me, I keep it pretty plain Jane. It would be maybe some beefier tires on it, some meatier tires on it, and that would be pretty much it. I like the whole stealth concept, but it's a good looking truck. Now, long-time listeners will know that Mikey's been looking for you another backup vehicle.
I have found one for you.
We got to keep it in the $5,000 range.
I don't know how much it is. It's an older Ford stretch cab. I believe it's 4-wheel drive.
Okay.
It might even be pre-2000. I don't know.
Well, that's fine because I've actually, when I've been doing my searches, once again, Trader Online, I've been taking it down to about 96. I didn't want to go any older than what I'm currently driving, but we've discussed the whole thing about trucks before. There was one sitting out in front of Mikey Pa's place, up where I live.
6:30 p.m.
But it wasn't a crew or club cab, just straight up single cab. Nice bed liner, 4-wheel drive. It was a bow tie. I know you told me to deny the bow tie. Overall red, had a decent wax job on. I'm walking around looking at it. But because I generally don't know what the fuck I'm looking at, I could talk to my buddy Bill, who has found every vehicle I have owned since I've known him. And he was working on his truck. He just put the second starter in 3 months in his big truck. The one he had, it just ate it alive. Now, so we go walking out, and he's looking around, and everything looks pretty good, but they got the thing locked up. Can't really look inside. The interior didn't look bad. Didn't really see any problems. A little scuff in here. It's hauled a few pieces of lumber and what have you, but nothing really bad. He starts looking around the bottom end of the passenger side door. He's tapping around.
Yeah. Rocker panel.
It's rotted out on the passenger side. I never would have looked until once he did that, I stepped back and I could see the repair job. Now, without somebody with me, that's why I always want somebody with me when I'm looking at vehicles, because I'll miss shit like that. I'm not a body man. I can repair practically anything as long as I've got the repair manual in front of me. It's going to take twice as long as somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing. It will be done exactly correct, because if I don't have the proper tools, I'm not going to try it either. But it will take twice or 3 times as long. Now, I've never owned a pickup. I was trying to co-opt you into hunting down something. That's also why I had him, because he just finished hand re-lettering his Dodge pickup Hemi, because the big graphic on the full hood graphic he had on it was starting to fade a little bit over the years. have I told you about Bill?
Several things.
Okay, that how the man is anal retentive.
I think you did mention that.
Okay, this is the guy who will polish a car that is good. He believes in the whole Meguiar's and Mother's system, and once he's done the 6 different waxes that he'll use while he's polishing his car, he'll finish the whole car by going and polishing it by breathing on it and finishing off the entire shine. He should own a detailing shop. He's better than most of the people around here who do run detailing shops. He keeps a box of Q-tips in the cab of his truck to get around the creases of his gauges. Every
Yeah,
day.
that's pretty anal.
Every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Oh, that's very anal.
He has 2 pairs of shoes that he'll swap out before he gets in and out of the truck to keep dirt from the site out of his truck. But his stuff is immaculate. And all his vehicles have to be able to do 2 things or he won't buy them. 1, they have to have the most kicking sound system you've ever heard in your life, because the guy used to be a DJ as well. And 2, they got a smoke tire. If any of his vehicles cannot do that, he will not buy it. And if they can't do it when he does buy it, by the time he's done, they will. He used to be part of the street dominators here in town, the street racers. And that's why he's been my automotive guru forever. But when you sent me the picture of that one Ford from over at Champion,
Yeah.
within the next 3 days, I had like 7 or 8 emails from various points of the compass from people I've never talked to, thanking me for my interest in this vehicle. I was just doing a little research. We want to thank you for your interest in the 2014 Ford F-150. No, I wasn't looking at a 2014. They don't care. As far as they're concerned, they want to sell me in.
No, that is a hook. That is,
No, it ain't.
that is known as a hook.
Not for me, it ain't.
Yeah, well,
Oh, that's a dude. I got this much money. That won't even get me a down payment on what they're trying to sell me. And
it's ridiculous what a new truck is for now.
can't do it. But what we're talking like 38,000 for a brand new F-150.
That's a stripped down one.
Yeah, I got no use for that. Especially like we talked before. I'm only driving it maybe 2 days out of a week. If I put 100 miles a week on my primary vehicle,
That's a lot.
that's a lot for me. Which is why whatever I buy is going to last a long time. That's why that 98 Grand Cherokee out there has lasted me as long as it has. I still got the tires I bought when I first bought it 7 years ago. The guy who does my work, he just gets disgusted with me because he knows he's never going to sell me another set of tires. He said, hell, you still got about 5 years left on that the way you drive. Get out of here.
Oh man.
But I do want a tow vehicle. I'm moving up. So I'm still in the process of looking for... I pretty much narrowed it down to a Ford, although I've seen a couple of Chevys that weren't bad. There is one GMC that's sitting out there. We passed it, but I didn't really look at it. You remember that one just past Hanks? There were 2 GMCs. One looked smaller than the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't really get a chance to check the prices or look at it, but I may go back out there. It's gonna have to be one of those buy here, pay here places, because I'm not getting back on anybody's fucking radar about with financing and going through banks and all this happy horse shit. I don't need that. I'll buy here, pay here. I can do that. It's all kept between us. Life is good. Getting back into the banks, I don't want to deal with these people anymore. I don't trust them. I don't trust their reporting requirements. My paranoia is, I've been talking to a few people who say it's justified. So I don't want to, and besides, I'm getting tired of them, everybody trying to talk me into a little more money, a little more money, a little more money. Well, if you just want to pay this much more, we have this sitting on it. That's it. I give you this, you give me the keys, I drive away, life is good, you never see me again. Oh, well, If you just add a little bit more, have a nice day. We're out of here. I walk away. The first time I hear that stuff, for just a little bit more. Oh, where are you going? Hey, I told you at the beginning of this conversation, this is what I'm going to spend. This is the money I brought with me. Don't. If it's in a packet, I'll drop it on the table. I've done this before. And I'll just go, this is what I brought with me. I'm buying a vehicle today. It could be from you. You got one more chance. Do you have anything on the lot that meets what I want for that amount of money? If not, I'll leave you alone and you can go hassle somebody else. And they always, once they figure up everything, and there's always wiggle room. I can't stand that. Put the goddamn price on the vehicle. The one we went to, where you got that, the whole payment thing, they put the payments in the window. I want to know the price. I don't want to know how much my payments are if you finagle the numbers over here, because that leaves a lot of wiggle room for them fuckers. I want to know what the price is. How much money do I need to give you to get that truck? Or vehicle, what have you. You never get that out of them. They're some of the slimiest people on the fucking planet. Fortunately, I do have an in, because my buddy Bill has sold insurance, he has sold used cars, he has sold motorcycles. He knows slime ball when he sees it, because he's been one. Although the reason he isn't still doing it is because he couldn't stay that way. He got the hell out. But he knows the mentality and he knows how they think. But next day or so, I'm gonna be looking around and see if anything's showing up on the lots and see what we got. But you said you might have found something?
I might have. I didn't stop and look at it, but it's sitting there. It's near where I live. At a buy here, pay here place.
Okay. What color is it?
Red.
See, they're floating towards those lately. Okay.
I won't own another red truck.
No, we've discussed this before.
I've had two of them and they both got totaled, so.
And then, like I said before, you can't drive a fire truck no more.
I drove a fire truck last night and did pretty damn good, thank you very much.
Well, then you shouldn't have any fear.
Fire trucks are different. People generally don't do stupid shit around fire trucks. They tend to get out of the way.
Okay, I'll grant you that point. I'll grant you that point.
You got a 25-ton fire truck barreling down on you. You're gonna move.
You're the only one who knows how much that damn thing weighs. I'll tell you this right now. You're the only one who knows that the laws of physics are going to make that person who just pulled out you lose, because I'm an 80,000 pound, 65-foot tractor trailer, and people still think I can corner like a Lamborghini. Which is another, no. There's another rant looking for a place to happen. Oh, God. Nobody realizes that a tractor trailer can weigh that much. Either that or it just doesn't, those numbers do not register in their head. Fully loaded, I weigh 80,000 pounds. That's 40 ton. They can't understand why I can't stop any faster. Or why it takes me so long to get up to speed. Yeah. I'm hoping to get enough of this in me tonight to be a barking public nuisance. Because this week sucked. Just long.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I only worked 2.5 days this week because I was on vacation. And oh my God, I feel like I worked all weekend and some. Oh.
It felt like last night it felt like, well, Thursday night. Got dumped at a fairly decent hour instead of, them dragging it out all. So about by 2:30, maybe 3 o'clock, I was at the truck stop. But I hadn't slept good the night before, so I just racked out. Didn't eat, because I know what happens if I eat and then try to sleep. I don't. Racked out. Got up about 9:30. I just slept as long as I needed to. Woke up. Went into the truck stop, did my paperwork, grabbed a shower, came back out to the truck, thought I'd go back to sleep.
Wrong.
11:30 later on that night was by the time I finally got to bed. I had been up from 9 o'clock, 24 hours, and then 2 more hours to get as far as Austinburg up there at the Flying J, where I finally hit the wall. I couldn't sleep until then. I was tired, but I'd lie down and just, I'm counting the stitches in the upholstery. So, hadn't done that in a while. And slept and pulled in, crashed. Finally got the mind to shut down about midnight or so. Got up at about 9:30 today. I didn't have to be home, so I just slept. Got home about 10:30, so bullshit a little bit. Finally went to the house, and the hen party is there. I cannot buy another vehicle if I leave there. I'm only there 2 days on a week, if that. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. I really don't. I really don't. The heck of it is, my landlady herself, Ruthie, is probably not going to be around all that much. Because she's going to be splitting her time between the once a month vacations she takes, the winter in Hawaii, and staying with her beau at his place. I've almost been relegated to the point of, you know how kids act when they're in their late teens, early 20s, when they're still living at home and their parents are getting amorous, and they think, teenager being traumatized here. Why don't you two knock that off? You're too damned old. Well, I'm 51 goddamn years old and I'm going through the same shit here. It doesn't. It's like, are you kidding me? How old are you two? I shouldn't be that way. I really shouldn't. Of course, I don't believe I'm going to live that long to have to worry about it, so pissed. Anyway. Okay, rant part over. Kind of, sort of, maybe. We don't know yet. Shit could get weird. There is a lot of crap that's been going on this week, and I don't really know as I care a whole hell of a lot about any of it. It's been a little interesting. I do want to start with a couple pieces of celebrity news, and then we'll move into the more serious stuff. We've been watching this week. We actually lost 2 greats this week. The one that most of our listeners will be able to more readily identify with would be Robin Williams. Robin took his life. And from the reaction I've been getting from certain people, it breaks down to 80% well-wishers. Maybe 5% are completely clueless about the whole sitch. And 15% who it must be nice never to have had a holy fuck. Ladies and gentlemen, we just had something go off here locally that shook the floors of the building.
Yeah?
We got a problem there, John?
Yeah, Chris emailed saying that he's getting no audio on live stream.
Check 1 2 2 4 6 8 10.
It's online.
1 3 5 7 9. No, hold on. Live stream. That would have been. What happened?
Nothing.
Because I know Jack and Emily have been listening via Ustream.
Yeah. But Chris is not getting anything on live stream, and I don't know why.
Something we have forgotten to update. Hold on just a second, folks, while John beats the living shit out of things. Beep. Hold on. I shall grab my phone. Because that's our only contact to the outside world. Something else? Oh, okay. Huh. I wonder if we've gotten in trouble with the powers that be. Means we're doing our job. No, we're on.
It says we're on.
How do we find out from here?
Go keep doing.
I'm
what
just
you're doing.
curious. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and figure it out.
Okay, I was gonna say. Anyhow. Man, the 15% I've been looking at, the 15% of the commentary this week, that really, you've never had a moment in your life that has never been absolutely freaking perfect, huh? Everybody's saying, how selfish, he had it all, what more could he have possibly wanted? Really? Really? Nothing has ever gone wrong in your life. You've never felt up against the wall to where you couldn't see a way out. Having a shitload of money doesn't mean all your problems go away. And if that's what you think, you suck as a human being because you really don't understand the issues involved. Take it from somebody who's been through depression, all right? I've come pretty close over the years from time to time. Fortunately, I've been able to find my way back out. I was fortunate there were enough people that cared about me that could see the signs. Because let's face it, I should probably never play poker. Because I kind of broadcast anything that's going on. Even if I try to keep it quiet, people can read my face and they know what's going on. I've never been able to hide that. Robin, if you bothered paying any attention to if you did some research, because I was kind of curious myself. I hated the man's politics, but I loved the guy. The man was a comedic genius. And none of it was forced, although there is something to be said that maintaining that over a period of time would be forced, because you're trying to hide what's going on inside. It's a wall that you build up. It's armor that you wear. Robin had gone through 2 Hollywood divorces. If you know anything about those, they pretty much suck you dry financially. He has 4 movies that are in the process of coming out within the next year. That's how hard he's been working. He didn't want to do movies anymore, because he has fought with the demons of addiction and depression. That's part and parcel of what goes on when you get into the Hollywood loop. Take a look at the train wrecks you see almost weekly in the entertainment news. He didn't want to do movies anymore because it meant he had to spend so much time away from family. At his heart, at 63 years old, you didn't think you had to bust your ass anymore in order to make ends meet. But he did. The money just wasn't coming in the way it used to, the way it just flowed in from when he was at the top of his game. And it's one of the reasons why he did, I never had a chance to see any episodes of the show, the crazy ones, television program. He was doing episodic TV again, back where he started. He wanted to do that because it was a short commute to do the job from where he lived, and he could get back home to be with his family at night. The guy wanted to just live a quiet life, but he couldn't. Wasn't making ends meet. Wasn't making the bills. And from what I've been able to hear, What pushed them over the edge was they were working on a sequel, which Robin hated to do. When Robin does a character, and they let him do what he wants to do, he puts everything out on the line. He puts it all on the field. There's nothing left. There's nothing left to be said for that particular character. They were doing Doubtfire 2. He had to reprise that role. As far as he's concerned, there's nothing left to say. But they wanted to squeeze the money out of it, so he agreed to do it. He's back doing the films. Time away from his family. Revisiting a character he didn't really have anything more to say about. And after one season, his television program gets canceled even though it had good reviews. Just heaping on and heaping on and heaping on. And when your light burns as brightly as Robin's did, there is an equal amount of darkness inside of you. If you ever took a look at any of his films where he played serious dramatic roles, some of them were pretty evil. Robin wasn't acting. He was just letting himself out. For as bright as his comedy would be, there's that darkness inside that is balancing it. That the brightness was trying to keep away. And sometimes when you don't think you've got anything left, especially if you've had substance problems, that darkness can overwhelm you. And sometimes it looks like there's only one way out. Once again, ask me how I know. So any of you out there who are set to second guess what the man went through, once again, I hated his politics, but some of the biggest belly laughs I've had over the years were from this man. Try walking in his shoes before you start judging. I guarantee you're not going to have any better luck. As far as I'm concerned, the world's a little bit less today because we don't have him. There are others who've tried to be like him. You can't do it. You can't do it. Now the second one that we lost, arguably more famous, if you are of an older age, I don't know if I've got enough time to do it justice. So I'll tell you what, we're gonna come back and we're going to talk about the end of the golden age of Hollywood. And we have lost something in this woman that we can't regain. There is no one to take the place. There's no one. And if you have a chance to watch the older movies and to see when movie stars were truly stars, when it meant something, you need to give it a shot. Our younger people aren't going to get it. Then again, maybe I'm selling you short. We'll come back with that here in a little bit. We're going to take a little bit of a break while John figures out Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. You're listening to Pennsylvania American Patriot Radio, Braveheart, 88.7 FM. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll be right back. John, microphone.
Cindy is hearing us fine.
Sons of Scotland, I am William Wallace. William Wallace is 7 feet tall. Yes, I've heard. Killed men by the hundred. And if you were here,
Once I get
you could
done with
steal
the
the
other
English from
Oh, bit.
Died.
If you got anything you want to chime in on either one, by all means, let me know.
Not really.
I am
Not
William
really.
Wallace. And I see a whole army of my countrymen here in defiance of tyranny. You come to fight as free men. And free men you are. What will you do with that freedom? Will you fight? Fight against that? No. We will run. And we will live. Aye. Fight and you may die. Run. You'll live. At least a while. And dying in your bed, many years from now, would you be willing
Any reason
to
in
trade
particular, or
all
just
of
not
it
interested
from
in the
this day
subject?
to that
What?
for one chance?
Oh,
Just one chance.
not really all
to
that
come back
interested.
here
Okay.
and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Yeah, I have no interest in that at all.
I'm surprised.
Robin Williams, when I first found out, it was a real shock. And yeah, I liked him. Okay, another movie star.
You see that I put Robin in a completely different category. Because there's nobody people have tried, and there's Jim Carrey would have been the closest, and Jim was just got annoying after a while. When the movies you're doing allow you to just do whatever you want, we'll write the script around you. But that's genius. That's just
88.7 FM,
is what we have
Meadville,
done.
Pennsylvania. The following program may contain adult language and adult content. Listener discretion is advised. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland. And I showed you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
That'd be great.
PM.
Good time. We lost a few more than I thought recently, but this is the one that Lauren Bacall.
Yeah, I know. They come in threes. There's one more.
Yeah.
Who's it going to be? I got a shit.
Enjoy yourself, but not too much.
Where am I going to go?
Does a bear shit in the woods? Does a John shit in the woods?
John usually shits in a John. We just released a little pressure, so we may be
I'm taking a look at the other ones here that they're listing along with the ones we've, and they're not nearly of the caliber.
What are you talking about?
Celebrities that have already passed away. They've got a list of like 34 of them so far for this year. Some of the ones I've seen barely, they qualify as celebrities. They're not stars. Harold Ramis from Ghostbusters. Okay, you're getting up there. You're getting up there. But some of these other ones I've never heard of. Mick Jagger's like 18th wife or some shit like that. You know. As far as Mick ain't dead. There's no sign. Sid Caesar. I didn't know he died.
I didn't either.
February 12th at the age of 91. I hadn't seen him do anything recently, obviously. Of course, when you hang around with Mel Brooks, Shirley Don't. Okay, now there's something I didn't know. Maria von Trapp, the Von Trapp singers, the one that Sound of Music was written about. You know what I'm talking about, though, right? John, you gotta know.
Sound
that.
of Music, yeah.
Yes.
But
Have you ever seen the movie?
No.
I fear for you, man. You left a huge hole.
Okay.
Mickey Rooney. Shit.
Yeah, I knew he died.
No, I thought you died a long time ago. Character actor, actor. Bob Hoskins, guy who was Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, I knew.
And now that I see him without the detective's rig on, I can recognize him from a couple other movies. Okay, that's a celebrity. That's not Poet Laureate, Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
Ann B. Davis.
Who?
Brady Bunch. Maid.
Oh, yeah.
Going back to all the beach movies. Yeah. Casey Kasem. Which is really freaking me out. Oh, the whole thing about them stealing his body.
Have they found his body yet?
He's going to be buried in Norway. Against his wishes. I saw that today on Drudge. I'm not sure what the hell that's all about. Oh, you know, what? I'd really like to get the new. What the hell are you doing with Casey? Get the rest of the get the guys, get out the mystery machine, go chase his ass down. Eli Wallach, old westerns and shit, Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Oof. And we sit back, ladies and gentlemen. You listen to the second hour. Pennsylvania American Patriot Radio, Braveheart, 88.7 FM here in lovely Meadville, Pennsylvania, where I think it's maybe 70 degrees. I think.
71.
Okay, I knew it was getting close. It was starting to cool down a little bit on the way in, but it's still a nice day. Humidity's low. Just overall nice day. So what I do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right. When we last left our heroes, we were talking about, and I was kind of surprised because once I got on here, I started doing a search, and of course, supposedly, according to Us magazine, which puke, all right. Apparently, we've lost a lot of so-called celebrities so far this year. They list 34 of them. And I will confess, I don't know who half these people are. I really don't. I go into a supermarket or Wally World or something, I'll look at the tabloid rags sitting in there. And this person is doing this to this person. And who the fuck are these people? I've never heard of them before. It's just amazing to me. Why are we still paying attention to the Kardashians? Can anybody, why they're I have a hard time formulating thoughts again. Yeah, they all want to come out at the same time. The whole Paris Hilton famous for being famous shit. I'm just getting so tired of that. I don't give a shit.
She made a porno.
She's not that good enough to watch. I've watched it. I'm sorry. I'm not impressed. I lose an erection watching that shit.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry. Just absolutely not interested at all. Now, got my opinion on Robin. We'll move on. The one that kind of surprised me, and the what are you doing?
I'm sorry, I'm playing. It's my new toy.
I understand that,
My comms toy.
but there's so many different things that thing is capable of doing. It's starting to freak me out. Knock it off! Some people's kids. It seems like a flashlight. Stop it! You know, buy me one for Christmas or some shit. Anyhow.
Oh, I will be.
We could definitely use them. Quick aside before we get into the next one. That antenna, improve it much?
It's a 4-watt radio. It effectively turns it into a 5-watt radio.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay. Well, that I don't know how much that extra watt would actually be worth. So.
Overland, quite a bit.
Okay. Now, the next one we lost, which also is an interesting point in the world, is of entertainment at least, and it's kind of a passing. Lauren Bacall. And for those of you of a certain age, you know who I'm talking about. This one was the last remaining survivor of the golden age of Hollywood, back when movie stars were truly stars. Wife of Humphrey Bogart. And everybody has said that her obituary is going to be filled with a lot of bogey in it. And to be honest, she knew it. And it's absolutely the truth. You're going to get almost as much of bogey as you're going to get from Lauren. Not the easiest person in the world. Kind of interesting. Cool. Not the easiest person in the world to live with because she was very outspoken. You didn't mess with the lady. And there was a certain glamour and a certain aura around these true stars of the silver screen. And since finding out about her passing, I've actually started to go back and look at some of the movies that she did. And they don't make them like that anymore, kids. I know that's almost a cliche, but they do not make them like that anymore. Whether it's catering to the lowest common denominator these days, which I have a tendency to believe, or the sensibilities. It's just, they have changed, but not so much that you can't appreciate it.
I'm sorry. I'm still discovering what this thing can do.
You're like a kid with a new toy, for God's sake.
I am, yes.
Too many damn new toys. You got a new truck. Play with that later. Anyway. Not only, well, it's hard to put this into terms that'll translate over the radio. You really love that thing, don't you?
It's for
John's
those,
got a brand new toy. It's
for those that don't know, yeah, it is a handheld ham radio with multiple band ranges. Very cheap on Amazon. It's like $40. With all the accessories I bought with it, came up to about $100. But I mean, this thing is. This is the beginning of the influence of the Ben.
Much to our chagrin, he is not going to be joining us, but
So
that is a nice radio, especially for the price. It's kind of strange. Anyway, I could do probably about an hour just talking about that era. I know John's completely uninterested, otherwise he wouldn't be pissing around with that radio. But this is what happens when you completely isolate yourself from the rest of the world, John. I miss the world as it used to be. And her passing away means that part is gone. Once again, history can be rewritten once everyone from a certain area is no longer there to question your bullshit. And the same goes with popular culture. Once people who were alive during a certain period of time were gone, you can say, well, things were never like that. You're looking at through rose-colored glasses or what have you. We've always catered to whatever the people want. No, you've managed to dumb the people down so that the entertainments have to be more coarse. They have to be more intellectually bankrupt in order to keep the people's attention. When screwball comedies were more about, yeah, you got your Three Stooges, but even their form of slapstick wasn't the, repeated kick in the balls type of stuff that you see today. It's not funny unless somebody gets tagged in the nads. Okay, right, that's cool. Yeah. Ball shots or fart jokes. You can do better than that. We can do better than that. The dramas were far more intellectual. You had to pay a little bit more attention to what was going on. It didn't have to be spoon-fed to you through filters and special effects. And I miss it. I'm a fan of old movies. Just because of what they represent. So, cats and kittens, if you got a chance this week, if you get a chance, look up a few of these movies. Go back to the golden age. And sit there with an open mind. Don't think, oh God, I'm going to be bored out of my skull. No, I don't think you will. I don't think you will. But you got names like Gary Cooper, Greta Garbo, the early days of John Wayne. Her other husband, Jason Robards. Start looking through these things. Give it a little bit of a chance. And just think a little bit about what we've lost. And take a look at the ones we're going to see at the theaters these days and realize that they're never going to fill the shoes. They're never even going to come close. It's a different world. I'm not entirely sure I like it. All right, John, you done pissing around?
Yeah.
You're the only one that's got news stories you really want to talk about. Like I say, most of the stuff I've been doing with just... It's more the same. So that's why I gravitate towards these stories here. Because there will be no more of them. Their time is done. There's an ending point. What we are dealing with now is an ongoing same old, yada, 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 yada. Yeah, fuck it. And I just, I do enjoy my escapism from time to time. So what's top of the shit parade today?
Not necessarily anything at the top, just...
No, at the top of the stack. Let's put it that way.
Oh, well, it's all on Pocket.
I drive me crazy when you do that. It's on Pocket. Oh, there it is. With the arrow.
Right there, yeah.
Sounds good.
Sorry.
Okay. I've talked to a few. Well,
We talked about that.
Yeah, I know. I want to revisit it real quick because I'm going down through it. I'm seeing shit.
Okay, well, click it.
Well,
It'll bring it up.
I don't necessarily need to click the article itself. There's a reason. I was bouncing around the 3% sites, and the owner of the guy who's handling the body armor for us, Patriot Plate. Once again, get it if you can. But he had a response. Because since this bill was talked about, this bill to ban citizens from purchasing body armor. Fuck you and I. His phone's been ringing off the hook. The threepers are really coming out. He says, "Don't worry about this. It's never gonna pass. It can't." This is another case where this particular congressman is pandering to his constituents, who, of course, are in California, and don't believe that citizens should be able to defend themselves at all. Or the only reason somebody would want body armor is to hold up a bank. Or Hollywood ring a bell?
And I said, when we talked about this last time, I said, that is the only instance where I recall where body armor was used to great effect. And
Hips and heads, kids.
yeah, so this kind of thing initially struck me as we're gearing up. They know we're gearing up, and they want to make everything we're prepping for,
Well, indeed.
or every tool we're using to prep with, illegal.
But to be perfectly honest, in this particular instance with this bill, I don't think the hairball in question has gone even that deep into it. As far as knowing that we're prepping, I don't think that's even on his radar screen. He probably saw an ad for civilian body armor somewhere and wondered, "My God, how can civilians own something like this?" And because he's got a bunch of lefty liberals out there that are in his district, decided he's going to make a name for himself by, I'm doing my job. I'm protecting my phony baloney job, and I'm proposing this legislation. Well, it was shot down, but by God, I gave it my all. That's all this really is.
Yeah, to a liberal effort, it's everything.
Indeed. Results don't matter worth shit.
Right.
It's that, well, I meant to get it done. I tried. I worked. I did not rest. How are you going to get off on that one?
I wrote this bill on a piece of toilet paper while I was taking a shit.
Which is exactly where it belonged. Should have used it, pal. Anyhow. Now, the California Congressman Mike Honda submitted H.R. 5344. Look it up, folks. We ain't going to continue with it. It's not going to go anywhere. And the guy, Patriot Plate. Let me remember. Main gun. Military surplus. Yeah. And I believe that's in South Carolina. Well, I'll have to double check that. He put up a response on the threeper sites saying, "Look, appreciate the business. We're going to keep offering the body armor at a price that patriots can afford, but don't freak out about it. Don't put off something else that you need to buy to grab body armor, because apparently he's been seen at the gun shows. Guys will be bringing in the high dollar, body armor and saying, 'You got to get it now before they pass this bill, man.' And they're jacking the price on it, and they're forcing people to, geez, should I buy some more surplus food or an extra rock sandwich, or should I put it towards towards body armor before they tell me I can't have it?" It's the same shit that was going on with the magazines.
Yeah.
Getting them while you can is one thing. Doing it because you think you're not going to be able to get any more, it's a balancing act. Because although the possibility exists, it is a slim possibility, because there are too many people who are pushing back. And the politicians, especially in an election year, you're not going to see it. Because they know there's too many people who've been fooled so many times. Every time they have had a false flag event, the people have called bullshit on it. And they continue to stockpile. It ain't working. Since they started this particular tactic, the bad guys have lost so much ground and have put more weapons, ammunition, and gear into the hands of the people who are going to use this shit if it gets out of hand. It is the exact opposite of what they were hoping for. So, it's the same thing with the body armor. Go to Patriot Plate. Do a Google search, you'll find it. Patriot Plate. If you have the spare cash, you'd be stupid not to, because with the prices involved in that stuff, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful thing. I am currently looking at my body armor, and I'm checking to see whether or not it will accept the plates, because I already got a carrier. I don't think it's set up for a back plate, which is kind of. What I've got is more of a what they use for bomb disposal units to protect against shrapnel. It has the front pocket. It will take a Patriot plate. I may end up getting a curved one and using that, but it might not be a bad idea for me to buy the whole damn thing. At the prices they want for that, for especially if you go with front and rear curved plates and the two side plates on the body armor there, I think once I got everything spec'd out, it was shy of 300. But it'll stop an .6 armor piercing round. That's pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, it is.
And seeing as how the people we're going to be going up against aren't going to be using anything quite that powerful, it might not be a bad idea. Look into it. If you're not going to hurt yourselves by putting off purchasing ammunition you need for training or for stockpile, storable food, meds, can't stress that enough. If your family has certain medications, you need to stockpile that shit. Get your doctor to write you a long-term prescription and then buy it all in one shot. Store it. Body armor is not a bad thing to have, but the guy said, look, don't freak out over this. There's no way in hell this bill is going to get through. There are too many people against it. We're more likely to see a nationwide martial law before we'll see somebody banning any of this crap, before the bill gets all the way through. And you know the wheels of Congress grind exceedingly slow, unless the shit's already been on the agenda for a couple of years. Homeland Security ring a bell? CR. 6 months from the time it was first started until it was fully operational. It really? Excuse me. Bullshit. Sorry. All right. We'll go back to the pocket and see what John had. Let's see. Is there anything in here in particular? The flying fuck helicopter. I gotta get that thing.
Yeah. Well, there's one from Breitbart. If you look, you might be on a lower page. Go down toward the bottom of that column and look for page 1. The very top of the list should be document Homeland Security Sea Isle predicts
Indeed.
rise of anti-government violence.
Oh, yes. Yes, I've read that a couple of times.
It's a leaked document. Do tell.
I shall. Now, this is nothing more than what we've been seeing over and over and over ad infinitum, e pluribus unum, amen. We've seen it come out of the Southern Perverted Law Center over and over again. This goes back to the MIAC report and all this other stuff. This is just the latest iteration, and it is loading incredibly slow and slower and exceed.
If you see something that says there's a script error,
No.
okay.
It just.
Now, be warned, there is an autoplay video on this page.
I'm probably looking at it. I'm waiting for. That's why it's loading slow.
Yeah.
I was running into the same problem with some stuff I was looking at earlier. The site just always an autoplay. I want to. No. Why do they do that? That'll get somebody to immediately go somewhere else. All right. This is a Fox News. The video's sitting here. It has.
More information
There it
is
is.
coming in about the two suspects.
Shut the fuck. Washington Times. Washington Times. They do it at their own website as well. This is Breitbart, but all the Washington Times. Oh, Breitbart does it too. Washington Times does it. All right. Let's get into this. You. Them. The nameless. What? But yeah.
No, just you.
Oh,
I was
okay.
laughing at you.
All right. Son of a bitch. I've been doing this for 3 days now. See, just like that.
Yeah, the cold air is starting
Okay.
to get to me too.
No, well, with me, it's just trying to actually cough up my lung in pieces. I've actually been getting pretty good at it too. All right. I'm not kidding you. There's been chunks. Anyhow. A leaked document from the Department of Homeland Security's
Senile!
Office of Intelligence and Analysis. Oh, easy. I wanted to go there too. I wanted to go there too. Seriously? Well, we could have some fun with that, but we're not going to right now.
Their Office of Intelligence and Analysis
Analysis.
is probably the SPLC. Unless, wait, did they separate from them?
I don't think they did. I honestly, even if they said they did, I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
If they separate as an official entity, I'm still believing they are probably butt fucking each other. All right?
Probably.
Yeah. That's a pretty incestuous relationship over there. Let's see. Predicts increased anti-government violence over the next year, quote unquote. Really? What are you fuckers planning on doing that's going to piss us off? That's what you need to be looking at.
Sure.
It's not that we're looking for excuses or anything, but
Much.
I've always thought, all right, and this is a cliche, but this is the one I like to use. Why does my government fear my gun? Or more to the point, what is my government getting ready to do if they think it's going to piss me off so much that they don't want me having
Well,
one?
that's the obvious.
It's obvious to
hidden
us.
question.
Yeah, it's obvious to us, but you'd be surprised at the people I've used that particular line with over the years, and they never quite make the turn to think of it in that right way. Why is the government fear my gun? Or what are they getting ready to do that they think is going to piss me off so much that they don't want me having one? And you'll see people pause. And though I never really thought of it that way. It's not that they just don't want me to have a gun. They're getting ready to do something that they think I'm going to react badly to. So and once they think of it that way, well, they've done off enough, and then the wheels are turning, and my job here is done, and I can walk away with a grin on my face and a skip in my step.
And a song in your heart.
Well, that
Or your ass.
no, that would be you. You're the one that's always singing out his ass. Stick a flute up there and see if we can tune the damn thing. Anyhow, all right, stop running. You fuckers just make me tired. You got the local track teams running up the highway here on an upgrade. It made me look tired just looking at it. All right, DHS's, see guy, 7-page report. Only 7? Oh, that's more efficient than most government agencies. Entitled, Domestic Violent Extremists Pose a Threat to Government Officials and Law Enforcement. That's the title.
Well, if they would stop posing a threat to us, right?
Go figure.
Right.
You know, I agree completely. Points to the recent murders of 2 Las Vegas law enforcement officers. Now, time out on the fucking field here. Those were a couple of oofty-magoofties. We already know about them. They were not part of any group. These were a couple of lone actors that wanted to try and pretend they were part of something.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that were kicked out of Bundy's. Now, we're going to talk about that here. All right. Let's see. Okay. The document states that the inspiration for violence is Cliven Bundy's Bunkerville standoff with the Bureau of Land Management from earlier this year. Let's see. Killing of the law enforcement officers as evidence that there is a growing trend of anti-government violence compared to the previous 4 years, and inspired by perceived government overreach.
Perceived.
Yes.
I
And
like how they
oppression.
couch that.
Of course.
I like how they couch that.
And the perceived victory at Bunkerville will likely prompt more violence.
No, it won't, and it hasn't.
Let's chew on this piece by piece because I'm liking this. All right. Growing trend of anti-government violence. Have you really noticed any?
None.
Anti-government rhetoric? Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking a good game. Everybody's had a reason. Everybody that I know has had their ox gored in one way or another. Even your fence sitters are starting to get a little pissed off. So, anti-government violence? No. Bitching?
The only
Quite a bit.
the only possible connection to be made there would be with the recent events in Ferguson, Missouri.
This was
But
put
that
out.
is-
This was put out before Ferguson.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta remember, Ferguson's only been going on for about a week. This article is at least 2 weeks old, at least, when I start seeing stuff about it. Yeah, this should all happen before Ferguson. This article might have something to say about it. I don't think they're tying the two in. All right. Let's see. Perceived victory at Bunkerville. Got news for you, fuckers.
We did win,
You backed down
and we
because
Went away.
you knew you lost. You knew people were watching. You got to thank the Threepers for that. And there are individuals in the 3% movement who are working to make sure that that stays that way by the mobile communications unit that is being put together by the three.
Yeah.
Whenever there's something going on like this, the news will get out.
see,
You're not
here's-
going to be able to bottle it up.
Yeah, here's a synopsis of the events at Bundy Ranch. Federal government moved in and stole a man's livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
The citizens reacted, or I should say responded.
Responded.
They responded, and the federal government backed down, and the citizens that responded de-escalated, and there's been no rise
No.
or continuation
It
of
says-
anything.
Like I said, it says will likely prompt more violence. What more? Bundy was not the only violence that was committed at Bundy was by the feds.
Yeah.
The only violence that occurred at Bundy Ranch was done by
But that's
your government, folks.
not violence to them.
Not to them. But see, this is it. Perceived victory at Bunkerville will likely prompt more violence. They are counting resistance
As violence.
as violence. No, violence is when you bleed out, fucker. And just because you're wearing that shiny little piece of metal on your chest doesn't mean you can't bleed.
Yeah, violence is when I turn your head into a cloud of red mist.
Such a pretty thing, especially with the sun backlighting it. But I digress. All right. Bundy's 20-year legal dispute with the BLM over grazing fees on federal land, public land, not federal land, public land. Get it right. Right, Bart? I expect better of you than this. That was me. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, there's been no. Even the events at Bundy Ranch. Once the feds backed down,
Yeah.
it was over. It was over. They went away. We went away.
And that's pretty much the way it's supposed to be. Now, dispute with the BLM over grazing fees on federal land, I'm going by what they're saying here, we know it's better than, escalated when the agency attempted to seize his cattle in the beginning of April.
They escalated.
Well, an armed standoff between the BLM and supporters of Bundy ensued until the feds backed off before any serious violence erupted and left the 67-year-old rancher's land. Yeah, it's pretty. Usually you can count on Breitbart. So I still, every once in a while, something will ring a little bit and say, wait a minute, correct that. You guys know better than this. All right. Jared and Amanda Miller, a husband and wife who were at the Bundy Ranch, later killed 3 people in Las Vegas, including 2 police officers. Why they single those out, I know why they do, because supposedly that's supposed to be killing a cop is supposed to be far, far worse than killing any other human being.
And it fits the paradigm.
Yeah. Well, I think once again, this is Breitbart, but I think there are certain forms that everybody is used to. And in order to explain it in this article, I can let them go with that. They had to say, all right, this is their rationale. So this is part of the narrative. Including 2 police officers, before killing themselves. Nobody who engages in revolution kills themselves. They want to be able to do as much as they can and get away. Otherwise, it's not a revolution. You're killing off all your fighters.
And if you kill yourself, you don't become.
That's why your jihadis don't have it right.
Yeah, you don't.
Suicide bombers, especially when all the videos I've seen lately, them blowing themselves up. It's a beautiful thing. Oh man. Anyhow, the 2 left an ominous note, a swastika, and Gadsden flag by the bodies of both officers. I'm calling bullshit. I don't believe that happened.
If it did happen, then they were plants.
Exactly.
The people were plants.
Yeah, all of it was.
They were
this
patsies.
this was Memorex from the word go.
Yep.
All right. Amon Bundy, son of rancher Cliven Bundy, told the Associated Press the Millers were not welcome at the ranch and were kicked out after a few days, calling them very radical, and that they didn't align themselves with the Bundy's protest movement. We knew that within 24 hours of these people showing up, because we had people at Bundy. We were getting reports from the ranch during the entire time. We know what the hell was going on there. We heard about these people. All right. Let's see. These incidents that took place in the South and West since 2010, and that the DHS counts as a surge in militia and lone offender extremists, events with anti-government motivations and targets, are Alaska militiamen, Waffle House plot in Georgia, the LAX shooting, we're lumping these all together, XXX militia splinter group, Bunkerville, the Bundy Ranch, Texas militia plot, and the Las Vegas cop shootings. And some of this stuff I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
We may have to check it out when we get a little more time here. See. From the report. After years of only sporadic violence from violent domestic extremists motivated by anti-government ideologies, okay,
That's a mouthful.
no shit, mostly a dick. INA has seen a spike within the last. INA has seen a spike within the past year in violence committed by militia extremists. They keep using that word. They keep using the word militia. I don't think it means what you think it means. But lone offenders who hold violent anti-government beliefs. Why is everybody who disagrees with their government lumped in with violent? Violent beliefs? Really? I don't like having my rights stomped on. Well, those are violent beliefs. Really? You're an asshole. All right, we move on. I am offended. You offend me by breathing the same air I need. Get out of my face. Let's see. These groups and individuals recognize government authority, but facilitate or engage in acts of violence due to their perception that the United States government is tyrannical and oppressive, coupled to their belief that the government needs to be violently resisted or overthrown. I'm out on the field. Yeah, we're kind of chewing this.
Acts of aggression
Ask me about it.
carried out by the government need to be
Resisted.
resisted.
Yeah. Peacefully at first, violently if necessary. You fuckers need to learn your place. And it ain't telling us what to do. Kind of the other way around. I know that's hard for you to accept. Deal with it. Now, spike within the past year in violence committed. Have you heard any of this in the news?
No.
I haven't heard about the shits being burned down or blown up, except when there's rioting going on. Let's see. Violent anti-government beliefs. Anti-government. Or should I say anti-this government?
It says anti-government.
I know, but you know what they
They
mean.
always lump us in as being anti-government / anarchists. We are not anti-government. We are
Corrupt.
corrupt, non-constitutional government.
Exactly. Rightful liberty. Look it up. Let's see. These groups and individuals recognize government. Yeah, it's over there. But they recognize government authority. But facilitate or engage in acts of violence. I would love to know what you consider an act of violence.
I want to know how
Seriously, I would love to know what they consider an act of violence. Loading a magazine?
they probably consider what we're doing right now as an act of
This
violence.
is an act of violence. Yeah, I'm a violent person. Sitting here behind my computer screen with about
Look,
48
I'm
pounds.
beating up my microphone. I'm being violent.
I'm going to report you. Anyway. Perception that the United States government is tyrannical and oppressive.
It is. There's no perception about it. Open your fucking eyes.
It's not hard. Take a look at the response of Popo to what happened in Ferguson. Even
We're going to talk about that.
people on both sides are saying, okay, that shit was unnecessary.
That's why the county police were pulled out.
Yeah, and a state trooper who used to live in the neighborhood was given command. Okay, coupled to their belief that the government needs to be violently resisted or overthrown. Hold on. Resisted, yes. Violently resisted only when you fuckers fire the first shot. And then you will be resisted
Yeah, when
violently.
you take away all other means.
And overthrown? How about fixing what you're doing wrong? We don't want to overthrow the government. We want you to obey your oaths. Do that? We have no problem. What oath would that be? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, moving along here. Okay, we've got... Well, that's the end of the text. You've got the document here in probably PDF format from Homeland Security.
Seaguard.
And a video from Bundy when they were telling about the assholes that were kicked off the property. Now, it's always fun to go through the comments and see what the people who just read this think. And it looks like the mosquito. Fucker missed.
Missed.
Wow.
Got him.
No. He's on the ground. Missed him again. It's a fast little fucker. You know what I think it is? Because there's no weight to him. The air
Yep.
is pushing him out from underneath. That's bullshit. No wonder you can't grab the air coming forward. Whoop. Hey, he's not that good. He's not that good. All right, there's another one. Close that door. Or otherwise, we're gonna get ate alive. All right.
There's a way to combat that, you know.
Well, yeah, and we're going to do that here in a minute. Let's see. I think the greatest threat of anti-government violence rests with its lawless chief executive. Far from being a uniter, Obama and his lapdog Holder have done a marvelous job at stoking racial hatred.
Yes, they
There we
have.
go. The violence in Ferguson, Missouri is a prime example of Obama's handiwork. Let's see. The POTUS can only rule by dictatorship with a House and Senate that allows it. Okay, you give this knee-jerk reaction, low information puppet far too much credit. Not really. Obama is doing what he's supposed to do.
Tear the country apart.
Yeah. Let's see. The founding fathers devised a government with a separation of powers, not as an impediment to the spirit of bipartisanship and compromise, but as an impediment to tyranny. Sadly, the House GOP hasn't figured that out. The House GOP? The House GOP is the only one, with the exception of dumbass Boehner. The House GOP seems to be the only one that's holding the line.
I don't even give them that much credit.
Yeah. Well, everybody here pretty much knows our our own opinion here. There's more involved in what's going on over in Ferguson than going to, Faith Obama. I'm sorry. He'll put this is not his fault.
The thing in Ferguson.
There's shit going on here that's been going on for decades.
Yeah,
right?
but the thing in Ferguson is not necessarily motivated by race.
Not this time around.
No.
But you know something?
I don't see that.
There is, at least up until the last couple of articles I've seen, and there still isn't really, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, we're gonna shift gears a little bit, going from this little piece of debris. It's more of Fatherland Security. Once again, Fatherland Security. So you have Southern Poverty Law Center with Morris the Sleaze D's, accused but never convicted pedophile, and their ilk doing what they do best: stir stink. I'm not worried about them. Like I said, we strive to get on their shit list every year. I hope we'll make it this year. Now, let's bounce over to Ferguson. And we've only got maybe about 10 minutes before we got to take a break, so we'll probably be running this over to this third hour here. For me, there was nobody in this fight that I could cheer for. When I first heard about the shooting, it was only through the lamestream media that I was getting any intel. And once again, they were painting the victim as this gentle giant. He was going to college this fall semester, and the cops just got in their face for walking down the street and shot him for no reason. Now in the back of my head, I'm thinking, is this another Trayvon? Well, remember, the only pictures you saw of Trayvon were in the hoodie with a smile on his face and just wanted to go get some iced tea and Skittles. And, well, over time we started getting more information on just who Trayvon was. And iced tea and Skittles were used with a bottle of Robitussin to make a local potent beverage. There's a couple different names they use for it. But it's a bottle of Robitussin mixed in with the tea, and you flavor it with the Skittles so you can drink it down. And it's a hell of a buzz. It also destroys your damn liver, and that's what he was addicted to the shit. That's what that was all about. I don't know if you knew that or not. Yeah. It's a thing that's very big in the hood. It's a fairly cheap buzz, but it's just as destructive as anything else. It'll cook your damn liver. You drink it for any length of time, it'll kill you. But he was hooked on that shit. He had a record a mile long. Well, now we take a look at the so-called gentle giant. And the video footage that came out of him strong-arming a local convenience store operator and stealing a box of cigars off of him. There's pictures of this guy, and he is a big boy, grabbing the convenience store clerk by the front of his shirt, and he's about a foot taller than the convenience store clerk. And he's just, and he's got the box of cigars in his hand. The boy held up, stole those cigars. Now, the next piece of news I got was the cop that did the shooting was in the area, had no idea that there had been a holdup at the time. It's a different cop. More information comes out later on today. I found out, yes, he did. The officer saw these two guys walking down the middle of the street with the box of cigars in his hand. That's why he confronted them. And now from that point on, they're still hashing out just exactly how it all came down. Somebody said that they forced, during the altercation, the cop was forced back inside his cruiser, went for his weapon to defend himself, and shot the big boy. I don't know.
The way I heard it was...
That's from up to this, just before I came in here today, the most recent information I've been able to get.
The last I heard... Now I've been following Ferguson, not real close, but I'm keeping an eye on things.
Trying to.
Yeah, but I'm more focused on the police response.
Well, indeed. Well, see,
Right,
that,
but the
that
last
was
I
going to be the
heard-
next.
Yeah,
I
the
was more
last I
concerned-
heard was Michael Brown was running away with his hands up, and the cop shot him in the back.
Mm.
That's the last I heard. Now, I don't put it past Popo,
No, not at all. See, that's what I'm saying. There's
and
nobody,
and I take no pleasure in saying that.
there's no person to cheer for in this mess. Now, I've been curious to find the exact what happened between the officer and the perp. But let's set that aside for a second. You got the response of the community, and the fact that the people from the outside who are responding to this are doing everything they possibly can to stir shit up. You knew that Jesse and Al were inbound to start talking their shit. The race pimps were on their way. Most of the looting that was done in this area were done for people from outside of the community. That's been proven. Most of the people who are showing up start. Now, once they see somebody over here doing it, you're going to get a few that are inside the community that are going to go along, get along, or to, hey, we got a chance to grab some free shit. Last night, you had citizens in the community forming a line when the police fell back, forming a line in front of businesses to repel looters.
Yep.
So, the situation on the ground there,
You got him. No, you didn't. Damn it.
whoa.
Crazy. Need a pair of chopsticks. Man who catch fly with chopstick accomplish anything.
Anyhow. The looting and the burning and all that happy horse shit. I've never been able to understand why when you're pissed off at official oppression, you burn your own fucking neighborhood down.
L.A. 1992.
Bingo! It makes no sense to me at all. But it's more of a case of where you're going to have a handful of actors there involved. They're going to start it, and once then the mob mentality will kick in, and people who wouldn't normally do it, they're going to jump in because they can. You're going to have assholes in any group. And there are assholes who will take the road trip in order to cause the problems. The people who live in that community are getting fucked over in several different ways by a handful of people who are getting all the media attention, making them all they're all being painted and tarred with the same brush. Popo's response was way over the top, and half of the shit that's going on there would not have happened if they had not shown up with such an overwhelming assault force. I'm sorry, this was not a police response. This was a military intervention.
And
It was not necessary.
I have said it before, and I'll say it again because it applies. The one afternoon / evening that I closely paid attention, Alex Jones had guys on the ground, and they were Ustreaming what was going on.
Sure.
And there was they got a count of Leo on the scene of no more than 80. And you've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. Who's going to win? Who's going to win?
Right.
Are people going to die? Yes.
Absolutely.
But who is going to win?
You know as well as
Take them out.
You know as well as I do, though, that let's take for those of us who have studied this sort of thing, it's easy for me personally to fall back on using these examples. Nazi Germany. Now, there's probably been more recent examples But let's look how a small force can control a huge group of people
Yeah,
when you have the mentality of not fighting back.
the Jewish ghettos.
Bingo. A squad of maybe 10 men gets hundreds, thousands to board the trains. They could overwhelm them by sheer force of numbers. Yeah, you're going to lose a few people. You're going to die anyway. Human wave. We're talking rifles, not machine guns held by these people. You overwhelm them. They're going to get off 2 or 3 shots. You're going to... If, worst case scenario, you're going to lose 30 to 50 people if these guys are at the top of their game. That was cool. But I don't care about that. That was pretty cool. But it's better than sending thousands to their death by going as meek little sheep. One of these days, in a not too distant future, Popo is going to be handed their head on a platter. They're going to roll in, they're going to act all big and bad, and you're going to see Ukraine. And it's going to be on American soil, and that is going to be a game changer.
Big time.
Because right now, you've seen the resistance at Bundy Ranch.
Right now, Bundy Ranch is the standard.
Yes, it is. I'm taking a look at what's going on in Ferguson right now, and I have to stand with the people in that community.
Against the oppressive militarized police?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have to stand with
That's
them.
a
And I'm
no-brainer.
talking about the legitimate people in that community, not the race baiters, not the ones that'll take advantage of any situation. You're always going to have those no matter what community you're in. You're talking about the lowest level here. But your rank and file, most of the people in that community, I got to stand with them. And I know that's not unpopular because everybody wants to paint the whole group with the same brush. You can't do that. When they are willing to stand in front of a business, when Popo backs out in the face of looting going on right there, and instead of shooting the looters, they're still pointing the weapons at the peaceful protesters. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
I gotta side with the people in that community. I don't know any of them. I'd take a militia unit in there and back their play.
Yeah.
And I know that might surprise the hell out of some people, but no. I have absolutely no problem with taking a unit in there and say, look, we're here to back you up. We know what the hell's going on here. These guys are out of bounds.
It's 8 o'clock.
Yeah. All right. Folks, we're going to take a bit of a break. We'll probably be back and chew on this a little bit more, but we got more stuff to talk about as well. You're listening to Pennsylvania American Patriot Radio, Braveheart, 88.7 FM. We'll be back in a bit.
There was there's an article from Time Magazine written by Rand Paul
Yeah, I remember that one.
that says we must demilitarize the police. I'd like to get to that, and I want to chew it apart because that's about as disingenuous as it gets.
How so?
I don't believe Rand Paul really believes that.
I do.
I don't.
No,
I have lost all faith in Rand Paul.
I haven't. Rand Paul is not Ron. You have to understand that.
Now, Rand Paul wants to be president, and he's going to do what it takes to be that. Ron stood on his principles the whole time.
And so does Rand. Rand's principles are not Ron's.
There's-
Ron is too much of a libertarian to get through.
We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny.
We're not going to have to agree to disagree on that one
Okay.
because I don't. I'm sorry. No, it's.
I guess the thing that did it for me was when Rand endorsed Romney over his own father.
Endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your
I mean, he sided with the likely, the likely nominee.
Because Rand is more mainstream than Ron. Ron is an outsider, and so are we. Ron was never going to win, but I still voted for him.
On land that you believe you own.
When it came right down to it,
Although you have no voice.
Ron never would have made it because that is too hard of a shift to go from where we are right now, or even where we were then,
According to the state.
to straight on libertarianism.
About the current news and
even if we could have gained enough people to actually get him in office, he would have gotten nothing done because the mainstream parts of the two parties would not have worked with him. Nothing would have happened. Besides, it's also a matter of what did the country need the most at the time? Jobs. I would have rather have had Ron working as chairman of the Fed and have a businessman in the Oval Office taking care of the job problem. So that you don't have crony capitalism coming from on high, thanks to Ron working the Fed, but you have a person who understands how business works, leading the country. Right now, we ain't got any of it. You've got people that are running our money system that think that wealth is a zero-sum game. That if you have it, I can't have any of it. You have to give up something that you have for me to have some. Wealth has to be created before it can be stolen. Take a look at Microsoft is a great way to look at it. Guy invented that shit in his fucking garage. Now look how much money he's got. Did he take that money from anybody? It had to be created before somebody could loot it or mooch it from you. And a businessman who's actually worked in that world understands how that shit works. But you still have to put a check on him. And that's where Ron would have come in great, as working as chairman of the Fed. There would have been an audit. We would have found out what is and is not there. And our monetary policy would have been corrected. You wouldn't have this hyperinflation we're looking at right now. Ron was a great man. But he wanted isolationism, getting us out of the world completely as far as the military is concerned. We can't do that yet. We've got too many bomb throwers all over the place. So you need somebody who's more of a hawk than Ron was. I love the guy. I wish that we could have gone to just pulling our people back in Fortress America. It has a certain appeal to it. And Ron would have done it. With people kicking and screaming and gnashing their teeth the whole fucking way. But with Ron, and I still hope that whoever wins in 2016 taps him for the Fed. Get him back into it. Because you're going to see a lot of people shitting their drawers. But, that fucking freaks me out.
You're listening to Crawford County's alternative source for news and information. Pennsylvania American Patriot Radio. Braveheart, 88.7 FM, Meadville, Pennsylvania.
The following program may contain adult language and adult content. Listener discretion is advised.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and
don't sell Rand short completely yet.
You take the red pill.
But
you stay in
he's not going to get the nomination anyway.
And I showed you
because he's not enough of a hawk militarily.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth.
The police need to be demilitarized. He firmly believes that. He's never backed down from that. As far as him pushing for Romney, I know where his thoughts were on that because I was following him that closely. I was getting his newsletter. I know what he was thinking. He knew his dad wasn't going to get it because the country's not ready to make that much of a paradigm shift. Hell, we're not even, most people don't even believe there is a problem. I still can afford my Porsche. They don't know what the fuck's going on. They don't understand the reason why everything's more expensive now is because your money's worth less. What do you mean it's worth less? They haven't stopped the printing presses. We don't talk about that anymore because there's so much other evil crap going on. But the printing presses are still rolling 24/7, printing hundreds. It's frightening because there's so much money in circulation right now. I should say currency because it's not money. There's so much currency in the loop right now that every day what you have in your wallet is worth a fraction less than it was the day before. It's only a very small increment, but over time it piles up. The only thing that's going to stop these maniacs is we hijack the ink trucks. But I knew what I hate the pragmatic part of this because I am an idealist in a lot of respects. Restoration of the Constitution, well, you and I will never see that in our lifetime. will be dead long before that happens. But I still fight for it. Now, as far... I loved Ron Paul because he was giving a message that nobody had heard before. And he would not back down. That's why they called him Dr. No. Because if it wasn't constitutional, he wouldn't vote for it. And he fired up the young people, got them to actually read the documents again. And that scared the shit out of a lot of people. Which also meant that even if he came that close to getting it, somebody would have assassinated his ass. Rand is the weaker son of his father. He's more pragmatic. I still think he's too radical to make it as president. But the fact that he's out there talking the game and he's scaring the shit out of the two primary parties means you're starting to see the Republicans shift. They're starting to sound more like Rand. It takes him up there speaking to realize, oh shit, we've got to protect our phony baloney jobs. We'll move over here a little bit. The Democrats are looking at this, and they're digging in their heels even harder. Which means they're going to lose epically. Now, how much we gain depends on how many Republicans we can scare. And as long as Rand is still pushing, and his poll numbers keep going up, we're going to need a little bit more of a shift. Just a little bit, trying to bring it back to where we should be. And the Republicans are going to keep digging in their heels, and they're going to go even. That's why you're hearing about the possibility of...
Democrats.
Yeah. They're going to get to the point where it's looking right now like they might not have Hillary as the nominee, no matter how much she wants it.
I don't understand why people keep hanging their hat on her.
Because she's been billed forever. She's what they wanted before Barack. It's the whole liberal mindset. All right. It's part of the Clinton dynasty, which they still believe that she was running the show, not Bill. Hillary. Barack came on the scene, and people came to talk to Hillary. They said, we'll give you this if you let this go. She wasn't going to do it. But the Clinton machine would have steamrolled and killed Barack if they unloaded full on him. That is still a powerful duo, those two. Unfortunately, Hillary's getting old. And her mind's starting to slip. And she's not a good public speaker. Every time she opens her mouth, she pulls a Gaff Master joke. They need somebody. Unfortunately, it's largely become a PR game when you're talking about the presidency. Hillary ain't gonna get it. She's also coming across as much more of a hardcore, where you want to see the libs moving more anti-military and more disarmament. Hillary's starting to look like a life taker and heartbreaker. She wants to go in and kick some fucking ass. Hillary Clinton would probably be the hardest military president we've had in years. Alright, no lie. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the Floyd Hour, Pennsylvania American Patriot Radio, Braveheart, 88.7 FM, here, lovely Meadville, Pennsylvania. Where it is
72.
Wait a minute.
I know, wow.
Global warming, dude. Yeah, whatever. I ain't getting off on that tonight. Apparently, Al Gore is suing Al Jazeera. I'm not sure what the fuck that's all about.
For fraud of all things.
Oh, pot? Me kettle.
Yep.
Holy Christ, that's stupid. All right. Do we want to head back to Ferguson for any reason? Or are we?
Well, are we gonna cover that article or that essay that Rand wrote?
Okay, hang on. Is that in the pocket?
Yes.
That's in the pocket. Let's go take a look. Moo. Oh, and we still got a couple other things to talk about. Let's see. Oh yeah, we got a lot of shit we could cover tonight. We gotta talk about Gene. We gotta talk about the kid's book.
The polar vortex.
Well, I wasn't gonna go there, although the leaves are already starting to change, which is bullshit on a stick. Let's see. We got. Oh yes, the important legislation in California that died in committee, and I think we might end the show with that one. But all right, let's go to Rand Paul. And and this comes courtesy of Time, so. All right, it's loading. We're being traced by the NSA. It's loading. But longtime listeners will know that when his father, Dr. Ron Paul, was running for president, Braveheart was there. During his first run, Daryl and I were on the ground in Washington, D.C. at one of his rallies. And almost died of heat stroke. And John knows that that's something I have a tendency to do. All right, now what the hell is this?
You have a particular fondness
For heat stroke, yes. Yeah. It's my favorite illness. All right, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
What's going on?
It's loading, then it goes white screen on me. As continually reload. Oh, what the fuck is going on here? Come here. Hold on, folks. We're trying to pull up the story here, but Time is giving us a middle finger. See this? I had the article, then it went to this, then it started doing this. So let me do this. Let's see, it's bringing it up. There's that, and it does that. Interesting.
Let me see if I can get it on my phone.
Okay. All right. Now, Rand actually spoke out, and he's been doing this hardcore in a lot of places. The demilitarizing the police departments in this country. In places that you wouldn't think a Republican candidate would be going, namely some of your urban settings. And it's resonating. He's gaining the attention of people that the powers that be do not want him hooking up with. All right. We must demilitarize the police. Look, folks, we've been talking about here half of forever. That's why we tell you, if you see this equipment on the street, you have an MRAP, report it. We still want you to do that, by the way. And we put up ways of theoretically defeating these things. Okay. All right. Senator Rand Paul, published in Time magazine. Interesting. That in and of itself. Anyone who thinks race does not skew the application of criminal justice in this country is just not paying close enough attention. Senator Rand Paul writes for Time. He wrote for Time. Okay. Amid the violence in Ferguson, Missouri, over the shooting death of Michael Brown. The shooting of 18-year-old Michael Brown is an awful tragedy that continues to send shockwaves through the community of Ferguson, Missouri, and across the nation. If I had been told to get out of the street as a teenager, there would have been a distinct possibility that I might have smarted off. But I wouldn't have expected to be shot. The outrage in Ferguson is understandable, though there is never an excuse for rioting or looting. There is a legitimate role for the police to keep the peace, but there should be a difference between a police response and a military response. The images and scenes we continue to see in Ferguson resemble war more than traditional police action. As for years. Glenn Reynolds in Popular Mechanics recognized the increasing militarization of police 5 years ago. We were ahead of him. Yeah. Welcome to Braveheart Radio. In 2009, he wrote, I remember using this article here at the station. I remember the words. Soldiers and police are supposed to be different. Police look inward. They're supposed to protect their fellow citizens from criminals and to maintain order with a minimum of force. It's the difference between Audie Murphy and Andy Griffith. But nowadays, police are looking and acting more like soldiers than cops, with bad consequences. And those who suffer the consequences are usually innocent citizens. The Cato Institute's Walter Olson observed this week how the rising militarization of law enforcement is currently playing out in Ferguson. Why armored vehicles in a Midwestern inner suburb? Why would cops wear camouflage gear against a terrain patterned by convenience stores and beauty parlors? Why are the authorities in Ferguson, Missouri, so given to a quasi-martial crowd control methods? I'm having a hard seeing this because the print's small. All right. Okay, such as bans on walking in the street, and, per the reporting of Riverfront Times, the firing of tear gas at people in their own yards. "This is my property," he shouted, prompting the police to fire a tear gas canister directly at his face. Why would somebody identifying himself as an 82nd Airborne Army veteran, observing the Ferguson police scene, comment that we rolled lighter than that in an actual war zone?
Wow.
Oh yeah, I didn't know if you read that one.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, 82nd Airborne Army veteran, observing the Ferguson police scene, would comment that we rolled lighter than that in an actual war zone. Why? This is an aside, folks. Simple. They got a bunch of shiny new toys and they want the opportunity to play with them. So they're going to make this more than it is. That's the only reason. Olson added, the dominant visual aspect of the story, however, has been the sight of overpowering police forces confronting unarmed protesters who are seen waving signs or just their hands. How did this happen? Most police officers are good cops and good people. There's a caveat there. We're not going to address it right now. You know our thoughts. We continue. It is an unquestionably difficult job, especially in the current circumstances. There's a systemic problem with today's law enforcement. Not surprisingly, big government has been at the heart of the problem. Ding, 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 ding. I think we have a winner, folks. Washington has incentivized the militarization of local police by using federal dollars, your taxes, folks, to help municipal governments build what are essentially small armies, where police departments compete to acquire military gear that goes far beyond what most Americans think of as law enforcement. This is usually done in the name of fighting the war on drugs or terrorism. Both of them completely failed. The Heritage Foundation's Evan Bernick wrote in 2013 that the Department of Homeland Security has handed out anti-terrorism grants to cities and towns across the country, enabling them to buy armored vehicles, guns, armor, aircraft, and other equipment. Bernick continued, federal agencies of all stripes, as well as local police departments in towns with populations less than 14,000, come equipped with SWAT teams and heavy artillery. That's twisted. Stop it. Correct yourself. Bernick noted the cartoonish imbalance between the equipment some police departments possess and the constituents they serve. Okay, today, Bossier Parish, Louisiana has a .50 caliber gun mounted on an armored vehicle. The Pentagon gives away millions of pieces of military equipment to police departments across the country, tanks included. When you couple this militarization of law enforcement with an erosion of civil liberties and due process that allows the police to become judge and jury, national security letters, no-knock searches, broad general warrants, pre-conviction forfeiture. Pre-conviction forfeiture. Once again, I think we have a winner here, folks. We begin to have a very serious problem on our hands. Given these developments, it is almost impossible for many Americans not to feel like their government is targeting them. Given the racial disparities in our criminal justice system, it is impossible for African Americans not to feel like their government is particularly targeting them. This is part of the anguish we are seeing in the tragic events outside St. Louis, Missouri. It is what the citizens of Ferguson feel when there is an unfortunate and heartbreaking shooting like the incident with Michael Brown. This was written before the latest information came out. All right, take it with a grain of salt. Anyone who thinks that race does not still, even if inadvertently, skew the application of criminal justice in this country is just not paying close attention. Our prisons are full of black and brown men and women who are serving inappropriately long and harsh sentences for non-violent mistakes in their youth. War on drugs. The militarization of our law enforcement is due to the unprecedented expansion of government power in this realm. It is one thing for federal officials to work in conjunction with local authorities to reduce or solve crime. It is quite another for them to subsidize it. Americans must never sacrifice their liberty for an elusive and dangerous or false security. Franklin knew all the way back then. This has been a cause I have championed for years, and one that is at near crisis point in our country. Let us continue to pray for Michael Brown's family, the people of Ferguson, police, and citizens alike. Rand Paul, Junior Senator, Kentucky. Now, in this case, Rand is definitely his father's son. They've always been on that course. Ron was far more isolationist, I guess. I don't like using that word, but he was. Rand is a little more pragmatic. Trying to figure out where I want to go with this. John, any thoughts while I'm around chewing on this a bit?
Well, he's definitely spot on with the demilitarization of the police. However, once power is acquired, power is not easily, if ever, lost.
Well, indeed.
Especially when you do it when you protect it with the force that they have.
We have said this every time over the years here, where we have come up against a new power or a new authority or a new tool that is supposed to be given to whatever agency. We've always said, just remember, even if you trust the current administration, they're not always going to be in power. Even if you trust implicitly that your civil liberties will not be violated by the current one because they have a new power that allows them under specific circumstances to set your rights aside in order to, for the greater good, they're not always going to be there. Eventually you're going to get somebody who's going to have a slightly different view of what you should and should not have as far as freedom is concerned.
Well, let's look at it. Let's look at it this way. The Boston bombing, the Boston Marathon bombing.
Sure.
Was that this year or last year?
Last year.
Last year, okay.
Because they just recently ran.
Yeah.
And again.
You're right. Okay.
Quickly, it doesn't seem like it's been that long.
No, it doesn't. Things are running together so much and happening so fast.
Yeah.
And so often that.
It's not the isolated incident anymore, folks. This is every day and every day. And Bobby's back, so if it's unlocked.
All right, hang on 1 second. I'll continue my thought.
Yep, definitely. Is the return of Robota.
The Boston bombing, particularly the aftermath, is a good example of what we're talking about. All of these wonderful toys were acquired by local law enforcement under the guise of the prevention and response to terrorism.
Sure.
Guess what? The Boston bombing happened. All of those wonderful toys didn't do shit to stop it.
No.
But boy, they sure terrorized the hell out of the people in the aftermath, didn't they?
I don't know if they terrorized them or not. Do you remember the response?
Yeah, I
Thank you,
remember the
police, for
response.
saving us.
But
Thank you.
there were people that were like, what the hell is this?
Exactly.
But even their response is, it's irrelevant. There are no elephants
Well, I don't
involved
know.
in this story.
If you saw some of those guys roly-polies running down the street in brand new tactical gear, there might have been a few elephants involved here.
Oh yeah, you're right. But
the circus was definitely in town that day.
But we digress.
Yes, as always.
It doesn't matter what they thought of it.
It helps to understand, but
It helps to understand, but when you look at it through a person's eyes such as ours. Didn't do shit to stop the bombing.
Nope.
But it sure did work in terrorizing those people, whether they were actually felt terrorized
Some
or
were
not.
comforted, some were able to go back into their own little worlds and, oh, I am protected and safe because the police are here to save me.
So tell me again what all that stuff is for.
It is, well, first of all, as we said before,
And that's a rhetorical statement.
yes, but I'm going to throw something at you anyway. Ferguson might even be considered. This is a beta test.
Everything is a beta test now. Everything.
Well, as Rahm Emanuel said, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Exactly.
Now, in the initial stages, probably not. But we are a week into this now. And so now you're testing different theories and different responses and see just how much, once again, let's see how much people can take. You do have your wild cards and your jokers in there. Although one of them, I don't know if he's so much a joker anymore. When you got Jesse and the Reverend Al, and if Al's a Reverend, I'm a Dalai Lama with a Glock, so. You don't know that. You don't know that. I've seen a couple of them there's one that I'd like to get over that's hyperactive.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I won't win. Anyhow. I got distracted by gun porn. Let's see. You know about Sharpton now, don't you? He's a government informant.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was an FBI informant.
Yeah.
He was a
Snitches get stitches.
Yep.
Yeah, we've seen that come up on a few of the buildings in Ferguson now.
And if they're really bad, they end up in ditches.
Well, with any luck, it would be nice to see. No, theoretically.
Headless,
Anyhow.
naked.
No, let's not do that. He's gotten old and wrinkled lately. It's just, no, nobody wants to see that. I would like to know his diet program. Because I remember the Reverend Al used to be a big roly-poly motherfucker.
Yeah,
and now he's positively svelte.
He's a well done bag of bones.
Yeah, makes you wonder if Al's still doing what he's doing because he's on his last lap. And he wants to get one more.
If there is any justice in this world, it's getting eaten alive by cancer.
Well, I don't like to wish that on anybody because, like I said, that happened to my mother. But there is a very warm spot in hell for Al. They're saving his seat. I'm still focusing a little bit on the criminal justice system in this country.
Best the money can buy.
Yeah.
Ask OJ.
I think about what our buddy Daryl went through, and your minority communities do get disproportionately hammered on. They do. Even communities, as we said before, that you're gonna find the bad actors in any community. I'm taking a look at what's going on in Ferguson, and I have to untrain what I've been taught over the years. And I used to be one of the most colorblind people you'd ever meet. Daryl would tell you that immediately. And the drum beat has been getting harder and harsher, probably for the last 5 years in the media. Showing, Chicago's an excellent example. The lawlessness, and it's usually in certain ethnic neighborhoods. Anytime you see something about Popo and the response, it's usually in a black community.
Yeah.
The only thing that screwed up that narrative was Bundy Ranch. Now,
much to the chagrin of the mainstream.
Indeed. Now, if your minority communities felt that they had any hope in the courts, you probably wouldn't see these mass protests, and you wouldn't see the rioting and the looting. You would see more peaceful protests, or if shit really got ignorant, you might see a little bit something closer along the lines of Bundy, where they were standing put. They were not attacking, but by God, they were going to back their play. That's what happened at Bundy. And most of the people at Bundy still believed there was some way to resolve this inside the system. But if the shit went outside the system, they were ready to go. In your minority communities, and y'all need to get the hell away from the cities, all right? I understand why you're there. Y'all need to get the hell away from the cities. You are bottled up there. You are corralled.
Trapped.
You're trapped. You're caged. And it makes it a hell of a lot easier for a small number of heavily armed people to control you. And you will get no justice.
Jewish ghettos.
Yeah.
Only you guys in the inner cities, I don't care what color you are.
Yeah.
Mostly black because that's just what it is.
I don't understand.
But you guys are the Jews of the 21st century.
Yeah. Why minorities congregate in the cities, I don't know.
They'll tell you because they were forced there and they can't. They don't have a way out.
There's always a way out, but you have to go after it yourself. Nobody's going to hand it to you.
Right, and that's just it. You know,
you've been brought up believing, and I'm saying you, and I'm tending to paint with a broad brush, and I don't mean to, but
it's the welfare state. The welfare state.
That's exactly it. If it is easier and more efficient to take the handout than to bust your ass and maybe get 2/3 of what you would have got by just taking the handout, just remember there's no such thing as a free lunch.
What's lacking
You're
here,
going to be required to fulfill some sort of an obligation in order to get your housing, get your food, have your babies taken care of.
What's lacking here is the basic sense of pride.
It's been beaten out of a lot of people.
Self-worth.
Pride, self-worth, shame.
Yeah, shame.
All of this stuff. If you look, and I learned this when I used to run in the Deep South when I was a truck driver. You take a look at a black Southern family. Their beliefs are a lot more traditional than you would give any Hollywood liberal. Yet they vote for the same people. The black people have been taught that the Democrats are for the little guy.
Yeah, and Lyndon Johnson cemented that.
Yeah.
I forget the exact quote, but it wasn't very nice.
Yeah, I remember that. I've seen it a few times. More recently than I have in a long time because the subject keeps coming up.
Yep.
Now, it's the same thing with your traditional Hispanic families, your Spanish families. Hardcore Catholics. And they are traditional families. They believe in traditional things. Yet they vote for Democrats all the time because they've bought into Northern Union families. Most of the stuff that Michigan especially, I see it a lot. Blue-collar working people. They hunt, they fish, they own guns. Don't touch their Second Amendment, but they vote for Democrats every fucking time.
Because Democrats are their biggest supporters. Democrats are definitely the Union Party.
But why? It makes no sense.
I don't know.
See, this is what I'm saying. They do not represent the values that these people hold. But you keep voting for them. They want you. They want more of the money that you've earned. They want to take away your ability to own a weapon of any kind. They are not in your best interest. Yet you vote for them every freaking time. It's the same thing with your minority families. They do not represent your beliefs. Now, you may be a little more altruistic. You may think that the government should take care of more people. But they're going to be doing it by ripping you off and giving it to somebody else.
Socialism is great until you run out of other people's money.
Bingo!
Thank you, Margaret Thatcher.
I've never understood this concept. I think it's a case where most people don't think it out that far. And let's face it, our education system has done a marvelous job of dumbing the people down.
Sure.
You don't think it out that far. All you know is, it's so hard to make ends meet. Government's saying I can get a little help from them. Okay. Well, once you get in there, well, there's this program if you sign over these forms, and there's this program, and oh, I see you have this many children, you're qualified for this program, and suddenly they've got you, and you can make a better living letting them give you everything than you can by going out there and busting your butt. The old style, old school, antiquated, quaint little values that we hold are just that. Nobody believes them anymore because, well, that's so outdated. Daryl said it himself. He's got a couple of family members that once said that they believed they were going to be the first generation that did not have to work for a living. Because government's just going to give them everything. Young kids, they believe it. It has been hammered into them. And they really don't have any reason to not believe it. If, and this is, I'm still hoping and holding out hope, that Obamacare completely collapses like I'm expecting it to. If it were to succeed, then you got the government taking care of your health, your housing, your food, your entire life. Now you're beholden to them. You don't want to say anything bad about them. Well, we're going to have to cut back on how much. Really? Well, I've got this and I've got that. Well, you're not going to have that anymore. But, really? Well, geez, it looks like we're going to have to cut this too. Oh, that's fine, that's fine. No. And they'll step in the line because they don't want to risk not having the stuff, especially when you don't have the option of doing anything about it. Take healthcare. Where do you go when there's nowhere left to go? Because there's the whole reason they're collapsing this is they're working on single payer, to where the government controls everything and the entire insurance industry is gone. That's why this is such a debacle. Once you've collapsed all the insurance companies and made it impossible to get anything, well, gee, we're just going to have to take it over all. Really? Shit, didn't see that coming. Really? I've been telling you about it ever since it started.
Very
You're not paying
Hegelian.
attention.
Very Hegelian.
Absolutely.
Problem, reaction, solution.
Thesis, antithesis, synthesis, if you want to go in that direction as well. There's no free lunch. You're going to be asked to do certain things. Change the way you live. Change where you live.
They'll say they can't because the white man is holding them down there.
They've been herded into these communities because they have no choice. These communities were set aside, forced into the cities by the system.
Right.
That part is working. That part is working dramatically well. If you could see it from the other side, wait a minute, we've been forced into this, you would do everything in your power to your last breath to get the hell out. But there aren't any jobs anymore. So you can't make it on your own from square one. You've been brought up, a couple of generations, brought up on the government tit. There are no jobs in that area. You're kept at a subsistence level, so you don't have the money to go somewhere else and find work somewhere else. And we've talked about this before. You want the jobs in this country to come back, go all in on energy.
Yeah.
And we would even be able, although it has to be stopped in the southern invasion, we would be able to take care of all the joblessness in the inner city. There would be plenty of jobs because the people, even if you're one of those that's just lazy as hell and does not want to work, you'll still find a job at a subsistence level rather than taking it from the government tit. Because the person that's working that job now will move on to a better paying job and will open up that position for you. The lazy will get the burger flipping jobs, and the burger flippers will move on up to the energy sector. As a truck driver, I'd love to go to someplace else and make more money. Somebody can grab my truck. I'm going to work at a place that makes me twice as much. It can be done. But when there's no jobs, you got more and more people with their hands out. When you've got to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make what one paycheck used to buy you, can't do it. I know people, like I said, when I was growing up, I worked 3 jobs. I got 4 hours sleep a day and two 2-hour naps. I did that for a year. Almost killed me.
Been there myself.
You can't do that anymore because there aren't that many jobs available for you to make and to work out the schedules. That used to be a fairly common thing. Working multiple jobs to make ends meet. That has been doctored to the point there's not enough jobs to go around of any type. The education system has dumbed you down to the point where even if you wanted to compete, you're too damn stupid to do it. I'm sorry, I'm not hiring a moron to operate that piece of equipment.
But you could always become a cop. And I say that with half-hearted humor.
I know.
Because
we
it's
have
true.
we have documented the IQ requirements for entry-level police officer here repeatedly. Bobby, can you turn on that fan to low? Just to get the air circulating a little bit. We tried to do an anti-mosquito here and it's getting a little
Stuffy.
Yeah, just a tad. Just let it circulate the air, it'll be good. But there are answers out there. Economic ones. Economic issues will fuel the social issues.
How many people is it going to take to build the Keystone Pipeline? How many
Skilled
people
labor.
will it take to build the damn border fence?
Indeed. There are jobs out there.
You talk about shovel-ready jobs.
No doubt.
Hey, the world needs grave diggers too.
You don't have to have a PhD. You can be you can shovel shit. It doesn't matter. That right there is the key to solving a lot of the problems you're seeing right now. We have to get the economics of this situation under control, and you're not going to do it with a community organizer. All that does is make you feel good about standing there with a fucking sign. That's all a community organizer does. Make you feeling good about standing there with a sign for your favorite topic and raising awareness. I can't fucking stand that line. Oh, what are you guys doing here today? We're here to raise awareness. Really? And do what? Well, we want people to know about this. All right, I know about it. How does that help that kid over there that's in the hospital? Did you raise any money today? No, we raised awareness. Okay, you're an idiot. Go away. That's all a community organizer really does. He organizes people into little groups about this problem here and that problem there. And we don't have enough of this. And fine, you sit around with a fucking sign. Now you think your job is done. I did my part. You didn't do dick. The problem still exists. It's just now you feel good about yourself because you raised awareness. It's fucking sad.
Well, it's what
That's
we
a
talked about
community,
before. I tried.
Exactly.
I got
it's
no
all about
results,
whether or
but I
not you
tried.
tried. Yeah, you didn't do dick.
Yeah, let me.
The area is still blighted. There's no jobs here. People are still living on the goddamn streets. But I raised awareness.
How many times do you think my boss is going to hear me say, "I tried," before I'm gone?
Exactly. The economic situation has to be corrected. It can be corrected. We have the ability to do it, but because that's not the narrative right now, it's not going to get done. What's going on in Ferguson? It can be traced back to economic reasons. It most certainly can. People don't start having a criminal mindset unless they can't get what they want through legal means. Or if they think, well, I just don't give a damn anymore. I'm going to take what I want.
You know, it's interesting. There's an interesting parallel there with us. We can't get what we not necessarily want, but what we need, which is freedom, through the system. So, sooner or later, we're going to have no choice but to resort to what the government calls criminal means. There's a very
That's
close
what the government
parallel
calls it.
there.
But if you read the Constitution, and I know that's another antiquated document. No, I don't know why. Oh, you're one of those. Yeah, I'm one of those. Yeah.
Are you trying to raise awareness?
pretty much what we do here at the station, except we also back it up with deeds.
Force.
No, not just words. Words for the radio station, but deeds as well.
Yeah.
I live my life as a free man, which irritates the shit out of my employers. Because I'm supposed to be one of the most regulated fuckers out there. I will obey every law my conscience will allow me to. But there are some things I simply will not do. And nobody has any right to tell me I have to do these things. Now, one of these days, I'm going to piss off the wrong person, or the right person, depending on how you look at it. And they are going to try to force me to cease and desist. Once again, that ain't happening, folks. And I am probably not going to live very long. I've come to accept that. If you're part of this movement, you understand that you are already dead man walking.
But they will have failed in their goal in getting you to cease.
Exactly. I will not bend the knee, which is their stated objective. Bend the knee or die. Resistance is futile. Really? Tell that to our founders.
BYOBB.
Tell,
Body bag.
tell that to the founders. Do you really think they bought into that resistance is futile? I'm sorry. Americans still possess the spirit of resistance. Bundy Ranch. Ferguson. They are resisting. Police told them to get the hell off the street. They said, these are our streets. Now, do you have people who are taking advantage? And you always will, certainly.
Yep.
Those two that shot those cops in Las Vegas, they went there with the wrong intent, were recognized as such by the people on the ground at Bundy, and were told to unask the AO.
I'm surprised that it hasn't come out that the people that asked them to leave Bundy Ranch are being held responsible for the 3 people's deaths. If you can blame a gun for murder,
I have some theories on that, and I'm not going to discuss those on the air right now. It's been a long enough period of time that I actually, as a bellwether, Bundy is still something that needs to be looked at. As far as details are concerned, remember what I've said over the years. I no longer care about the who, what, or why.
yeah.
I have to deal with what is being done in the name of.
And remember, folks, Bundy is not over.
There are other things that are going on that have taken our attention away from it. Plans are still being formulated. They're figuring out how to turn that debacle around to make them look good again. Or they're just going to find a way to make Bundy quietly go away.
Yep.
Not a good idea. Anything happens to that old man, it's on.
I'd like to think so.
If you had the kind of response he got, nobody knew who this man was. But once the word got out, people were coming from all over the country, ready to lock and load. If anything happens to this man that is even slightly beneath the radar, unleash hell.
I would like to think so. I don't.
I'm
Now, granted,
I'm fairly sanguine about that.
Bundy Ranch, Bunkerville, has restored my faith in the American patriot in that
The spirit of resistance.
they stood their ground.
Yeah.
That's something that we haven't seen in a very long time. I'm cautiously optimistic that that trend will continue. However, given recent history on certain things.
Americans' ability to fall back asleep is second to none.
Yes, exactly.
Which is why I've been kind of upset at the lack of pro-gun rallies in the area, the open carry rallies and such. Now I know open carriers have been getting a bad, and I sometimes, as Machiavellian as my mind is, I'm wondering if some of these open carry events have not been memorized.
Well, let's face it. if guys like you or me walked into a coffee shop with ARs slung over our shoulders, that's not such a good idea.
No.
But if you get, if you go into a coffee shop or wherever,
Yeah.
you know, well dressed, well spoken, you know, basically a clean person,
Sure.
you know, on the
I showered
outside.
last week, damn it.
And you're openly displaying a holstered sidearm.
Sure.
There's an entirely different picture there.
Indeed. Hell, they might think you're a plainclothes detective. You
The
don't
guy, the doctor in Arizona that was walking through the airport with an AR-15 slung over his shoulder. Fucking idiot.
Dumbass. Dumbass.
Epic. Now, that being said, I admire his
I have the right.
stand.
Yeah, but you're not doing it. You're doing it dumb, okay?
With
you're
rights,
doing it dumb.
With rights come responsibility.
With great power. Now I'm not gonna channel when you're Spider-Man.
So, be smart about it. There's a time to exercise your rights, and there is a time to put up unyielding resistance. Bundy was unyielding resistance.
Yeah, that was absolutely the way it should have been. That was absolutely Lexington Green.
Yeah. In the desert, yeah, it was.
That was Lexington Green.
No doubt.
Hold your ground, stand your ground. Do not fire unless fired upon. But if they mean to have a war, let it begin here.
Captain John Parker.
And that Bunkerville was Lexington Green all over again. And that is the spirit that we need to revive. If you've seen some of the pictures of the line where the residents of Ferguson have been standing, staring in the face of the cops across from them, unarmed, but absolutely defiant. This is our neighborhood. While you've got them pointing weapons at unarmed people. That's the spirit of resistance. I would like to find a way to let those people know it's not a race thing, folks. It may have been at one time. That doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't feel that way.
No.
And to the media's credit, it hasn't been made that way like it was with Trayvon. Of course, you know,
We
it
ain't
didn't
seen
help.
the last yet.
It didn't help the Trayvon case when President O'Butthead goes on national TV and says, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon.
Yeah,
Let's
stir up the racial plot.
Yeah.
That's
not happening here.
Weapons grade stupid on his part.
Yes.
Or by design, you decide.
The racial component is not in Ferguson.
It should not be.
And it shouldn't be. This was a case of, from my point of view, an overzealous cop shooting an unarmed kid for what?
If he did steal that box of cigars, and it looks like he did, that still does not justify
Hell no, it doesn't.
murder. Now, again, still getting details on the interpersonal relationship there. Cop confronts him and his buddy who are walking down the street. Big boy's got the cigars in his hand. Cop confronts him. Altercation ensues. Cop's about to get overpowered by a fairly large individual. Draws his weapon. There's something. There's more information I need before I can say anything about that. But was the officer being attacked?
We don't know.
Exactly, and this is where I admire the people who are protesting what's going on there without stirring it up even further. The cops are looking for an excuse to open fire. The guy who got killed, that you're so outraged about him being shot, may have done something breathtakingly stupid. Considering the times the way they are and the attitude of Popo, who's going to shoot first and ask questions afterwards, they're not going to try to investigate the situation. They're going to go in and enforce. Now, if Brown did something breathtakingly stupid by strongly resisting or attacking the cop draws his weapon. That should be understood as the default mode for Popo these days. It sucks, but there it is.
Good, bad, or indifferent. It is what it is.
Deal with reality. You guys need to de-escalate what's going on. Get Popo out of your damn community, and prevent any more malcontents from burning it down. Remember, folks, it ain't racial anymore. This is about the enforcement of the police state. Race was used as an excuse in the early days. They don't need it anymore. They will go after anybody who shows any sign of resistance, for whatever reason.
Yeah, when the New York cops killed that guy in the chokehold.
Yeah, for selling untaxed cigarettes.
Yeah, and his last words were, "That's it. I'm not going to take anymore." That's when the cops attacked. That wasn't racial. That was cops.
That was
cops.
That was contempt of cop.
Yeah, that was contempt of cop. Exactly.
It may very well be that this incident here was contempt of cop.
Could be.
It may have been a cop legitimate thinking he was about to get his head handed to him on a plate because boy was a foot taller than he was and was getting ready to thump him hard. Or it may be, how dare you not respect my authority?
Yeah.
We don't know yet. And until we can, guys, you got it. If Leo will not keep the peace, the citizens are going to have to.
And so far, some of them have stepped up and done a pretty good job of it.
Exactly. So, all right, we've run out of it. There was one more story I was going to do, but we really don't have time to do it justice. As a quick note, folks, just remember, I can't do it. I can't do it because I'm grinning too much. I'm going to let this one go until next week because it'll still be around. Any final thoughts?
It's in the pocket. It is in the pocket.
Okay. Any final thoughts before we bail out of here?
No, not really. We do need to make an announcement.
Thank you. Go for it.
The weekend.
Now tell them why.
The weekend of Labor Day. That Saturday there will be no show.
Right.
Daryl is going to be out of town anyway, and Mike and I are going to be here Saturday, cleaning and rearranging and making room for your new producer.
Yes, John is going to be taking on a slightly different role. We got a couple seconds. Let's do this. We've noticed that when the three of us get into the studio, three or more, it tends to be a case of everybody trying to get a gotcha in, and it gets silly, and we have a lot of fun, but we don't cover the topics nearly as much as we need to. We found out from when my buddy Tom Swaggerty was down here. It was just him and I, and we got a little bit of our edge back. It was just a discussion. Tonight, you and I,
Yep.
we covered a lot of material tonight. Daryl and I used to do it for years when it was just the two of us.
Yep.
So, John is going to be, his voice will still be here, but he's going to take a little bit of a step back. And he's going to be working in the role of producer here. Whenever we need a story that's off the top of our head, he'll be working the computers to bring it up on our monitors here. When we have a technical problem in here, instead of hearing me fumble around trying to figure out what the hell's going on, he'll be handling it. But the studio needs to be revamped in order for that to happen. So we're going to be gutting this place. Maybe we might have one case of beer bottles just for decoration, but we're going to be gutting this place, maneuvering things around, putting in probably another seating area and a desk. And John is probably going to be off camera, unless he's going to be bringing cameras in. The details are still up in the air on what the finished product is going to be looking like, but the show on the 30th. There will be no show that weekend. We're going to be in here ransacking this place and getting ready for hopefully a little bit leaner and meaner version of Braveheart Radio. So, you got nothing else, right?
Nope, I got nothing else.
Well, Bobby, you going to speak up or are you just going to sit there and play with your... Okay. And so...
Work here is done. I'm needed elsewhere now. I'm needed wherever outlaws rule the West. Wherever innocent women and children are afraid to walk the streets. Wherever a man cannot live in simple dignity. Wherever a people cry out for justice.
So until we see you next time, God bless the Republic.
Death to the New World Order.
We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen.
We're on the march, they're on the run,
And don't forget to hug your rifle. We'll see you next time.
Oh. No after show tonight, folks. We're going to get some food.
Foodness. Sustenance. Of liquid variety as well. 'Cause I only had a couple beers today. I'm slacking.
Yeah, I think I might have drank 3. That's it. Oh, fuck.
¿Qué pasa?
Let's see. Ben sent, asked what,
Oh shit.
link to the
I
others.
never even saw it. That's another thing. When you and I are busy doing the,
All right. Good night, folks.
we're gonna be out of here, so you kids have fun. We'll see you next time.